results in there. If you beat Arsenal and you beat Man City, my thought process was, yeah, United go and get turned over at Fulham, but they didn't.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend, even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. They'd been introduced not for leg protection, but instead to give batters a strategic advantage. The idea was that batters could put their leg pads in front of the wicket if they missed the ball, preventing them from being bowled out. Obviously, that all changed when the LBW rule came in, but that was the theory behind them. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Apparently, he'd broken his leg in a match against Sheffield United in 1874 and wanted to stop it from happening again. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads, sewed them into his socks and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. Ta-da! Shin pads. Like all great genius inventors, everyone took the mickey at first. To be fair, he probably looked quite stupid running around with these on. But it's thought his whole Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this protection was pretty important for footballers. Multiple studies have shown wearing shin pads clearly reduces the risk of players getting lower leg injuries. And so in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became a part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says pads must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, and players can get away with a lot. A lot of grassroots clubs are choosing to ban micro shin pads for obvious reasons, though, especially after a 15-year-old player from Penistone Church broke his leg while wearing them. Still no change from IFAB, though. That's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
It's kick-off on talkSPORT. What a weekend it's been in the Premier League. We had a great game Friday, a goal fest Saturday, a 2-1-a-thon Sunday. Arsenal won with their corners, City won without their talisman, Liverpool hit 5 but were pretty average. Sesko scored the winner for United and he's on fire. Eddie Howe got it all wrong at Newcastle and Spurs lost yet again. Loads to talk about on kick-off through till 10 on talkSPORT. Shall we introduce our guys? I'm Adrian Durham, by the way. Former England midfielder Danny Murphy. How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
You were at a game at the weekend, weren't you?
Fulham Spurs, yeah.
Fulham Spurs. More on that a little bit later on. There's no Darren Lewis tonight. And
I bet you're disappointed about
I'm
that.
absolutely devastated because we've got to put up with you. Shaun Custis, head of sport. Is it head of Sun Sport?
Director of Sun Sport.
Director of Sun Sport.
Nowadays, yeah.
Okay. I have to say, what time do you get in? About 6:30?
Nice and early, yeah.
I mean, you've looked really miserable since you've got...
Have I really?
Yeah, it's nothing new, though, is it, really?
Well, I'm trying to cheer up. It's just everybody's been saying what a terrible weekend the Premier League was, and I thought it was really good. And people, that's made me miserable because everybody's saying it's terrible.
I get accused of it all the time.
What, being miserable?
Yeah.
Are you?
No, I've just learned to have a miserable face. They call it something else, don't they?
Yeah, listen, you know I do the Saturday afternoon show, the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. There were 3 of them. There were 19 goals. So I thought it was a great weekend. But you're right. When you listen to other people, there's different views.
Yeah.
They're backing it up, so it's something we will discuss. Certainly at past, I think. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, at past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was the weekend so terrible?
I think it depends what you like watching.
Yeah, I think that's true.
You know, I love
Like
real
a lot of set pieces.
I just love high quality football, and high quality football can be defensive.
Yeah, it can be defensive. I think you can have
a bit geeky, that.
You can have high quality set pieces, can't you?
You can?
Yeah. Arsenal didn't know. They were just a big mess. Let's talk about Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1, because it's the key game in terms of the title race. City had already won at Leeds, so what did Arsenal have in response? They didn't have a lot, Shaun, but they did have just about enough, didn't they?
They did, and there all seems to be extra pressure on Arsenal, doesn't it? City play on a Saturday, Arsenal have to respond on a Sunday. They know they've got to win every time, and they did it. But I thought they were a little bit fortunate. Actually, it was the best I've seen Chelsea play in quite a while. I thought they knocked it around well. I thought they created quite a lot of chances. Pedro Neto hadn't been a bit of an idiot. They might well have got back into it. I thought they gave Arsenal a good game, and Arsenal, I think you could tell Arteta knew he'd just about scraped through, and he was a relieved man. He was laughing and joking afterwards, but you could see relief on his face.
On the full-time whistle, he puffed out his cheeks, didn't he? And I think he knew that they got away with one, maybe a little bit, which is strange because these are the title contenders and they were playing against 10 men for, 20-odd minutes. One thing I would say about Chelsea, I don't think they were as good as you seem to think they were. It's all about opinions, but Cole Palmer, for me, I'm not seriously concerned about Cole Palmer
I agree with that.
ahead of the World Cup because should he have had an operation? Should he have had it by now? Does he need an operation, or is he going to be out injured with his ankle? Is that the reason why his form isn't good? Because we know he's still capable, and he was picking up pockets early on, and then it was just easy.
But I take that on board about Cole Palmer, but if you think of the amount of saves David Raya made and one right at the end as well, Arsenal were under a lot more pressure than I've seen them under in quite a few games this season.
I think the biggest indicator of their mindset was how little of the ball they had with 10 when they had an extra man. And that's just self-preservation of keeping the lead and being a bit like panicky and not being free to just play their normal game. Because normally, you know exactly what would happen. 11 against 10, and you press a bit higher, you go after them, you suffocate them because you win the ball because you got the extra man. And then you got the ball. And you wait, they're countering you normally. The 10 is countering the 11. They went like that. Retreat, protect. And I get it. I've been there. Like, you just desperately want to hold on to what you've got, and that you can't have that mentality with so many games to go.
Yeah, Man City wouldn't have that mentality in a game.
There was a game recently where they were hanging on a little bit. Was it? I'm just trying to think now. Was it
Wolves?
Yeah, it was Wolves.
Was it?
But also,
was it?
But it was 1-0 Saturday. Newcastle was another one where they were holding on. But also earlier in the season,
Newcastle,
Arsenal, they were 1-0 up and they decided to shut up shop, and it didn't work because they conceded.
But in the past, they wouldn't. No, you're right.
No, you're right.
They'd go and kill you.
Let's hear from the manager, Mikel Arteta. He gave his thoughts on the victory, praised his side for finding a way to win.
Very, very happy. The players made an incredible performance and as well put so much into the game. We knew that after obviously the great victory we had against the Spurs that this was going to be even another level of difficulty, and it proven to be right. I think we started the game so well. The first half was so dominant, but the margins were almost nothing, and it should have been much bigger. So I reminded them 7 days ago we were in the same position against the Spurs in that dressing room, so we're going to do it again. And to do that, we're going to have some very good moments and take advantage of that, and we're going to have to suffer because this is a top side with top individuals that can cause you big problems in any moment.
Mikel Arteta with his thoughts after the game. I want to ask a very broad one in terms of the way Arsenal play. Like I say, at 7:30 we'll be getting into the details of it and whether they're any good to watch. And on a Slot's comments about how he doesn't enjoy Premier League football, set pieces, etc. But generally, okay, when you sit down and watch Arsenal, Shaun, are you actually looking forward to it? Do you sit there and think, okay, well, bring on the champions, let's see them put on a show?
If you put on your journalist hat, you're looking forward to it because you want to know what's going to happen. Yesterday didn't matter whether it was draw, win, loss. From a journalistically point of view, it was going to be a good story, whatever happened. So in that point of view, yes. On another point of view, I don't think you'd rush to sit down on the sofa for kick-off to see Arsenal playing and sit there for 90 minutes and think this is fantastic. I've seen many, many better Arsenal sides than this one, certain performance-wise. I mean, they're nothing compared to teams in the Wenger. Some of the
you could argue the last couple of seasons. Was it not last season before they scored a ridiculous amount of goals and
they were better to watch.
Yeah, better to watch. I mean, I take your point. I actually think I was thinking then when you were talking about who do I get excited about watching?
In an Arsenal shirt?
No, in the Prem.
Oh, right.
Oh, in general?
Yeah. Because we're talking about, getting excited to watch a game. Give me a fixture where you go, oh, I'm looking forward to that one. I think United under Carrick are having a good go. I like watching them.
Well, can I say I was at Wolves Villa on Friday night and it was sensational.
Yeah.
Second half especially. I mean, really good.
But that was felt a bit David and Goliath type kind of maybe underdog.
That's going to happen in the Premier League, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you don't generally look forward to Wolves games, do you?
I do, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I mean, I'm a bit of a football nerd, but actually, I look at some of their players and I wonder who's going to stay in the Premier League. I love watching Mane, the kid. I love Joao Gomez in midfield, and especially Friday night, I thought he was really good. He's definitely staying in the Premier League, in my opinion. I think there's other players who've come good later in the season under Rob Edwards. So Mosquera at centre back, I think, has been okay, and also Rodri Gomez got the second, I think. I mean, they're full of Gomez's, but they're
like the best worst team that the Premier League's had, don't you think?
Yes, yeah. Among those, statistically, they're going to be one of the worst teams ever. But actually, I don't think they're bad to watch at all. They played three up front. They actually wanted to beat Villa. So I saw some quotes from, remember Andy Todd, who played for Derby in that terrible Derby side. He came out with a load of stories afterwards about how the players threw in the towel, did it early as well. He wasn't proud of it, but this was what happened. I don't see Wolves players doing that. So I know what you're saying. Yeah, they're down and they know they're down. But
no, there are some good. I'm just saying generally, it doesn't jump at you.
Don't you look forward to watching Spurs games? I look forward to watching Spurs games because of the chaos.
I tell you, actually,
that's always really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. But I've watched a lot of Fulham this season. They play some good stuff. I enjoy watching what they're trying to do. It's very well coached. You can see that, and actually, sometimes they overplay. They stick to it. They rarely go long ball pragmatic, Fulham. They play.
Well, they've got a couple of 10s in there now, haven't they, that are actually creative players.
Yeah, but I mean, even out from the back, the centre-halves are brave. They get on it and they try and play and they take a risk. They're a good
fullbacks are attacking as well.
They are.
Yeah.
Fulham are a good watch.
Yeah, no, I actually... And Brentford bring the chaos, and that's Keith Andrews' own admission. So I actually enjoy watching them as well because of that chaos. So it depends. I mean, if you're a real football snob, I get it. And you won't be necessarily entertained by some of the methods. But I haven't got a big downer on the Premier League this season.
No, I haven't.
No, me neither. But for some reason, a lot of people do seem to have one.
Do you think the narrative's more, though, that the quality ain't what it once was, rather than the watch? I mean, they kind of correlate.
Well, you would know whether the quality's better. I mean, I still think players have got great close control. Good passes of a ball. It's just the emphasis has changed slightly, is it not? Yeah. Oh, look, you can score goals from set pieces. I remember we used to do that in my dad's day, score goals from set pieces. Let's try it again.
I think one of the big things I've noticed, or I feel like the last couple of seasons, is the lack of top quality strikers.
Yeah,
who win games for teams even when they're not playing well. Because if I think back to when I was playing, when you had the likes of, even if you look at England strikers, I mean, the selection with Teddy, Coley, Robbie Fowler, couldn't get a game.
Les Ferdinand, yeah.
Les, I mean...
But didn't you play two up front then? So there's more opportunities for strikers, so they got more practice. I mean, who would have thought, I'll take you back to Newcastle days, Shearer and Les Ferdinand as a two together, you'd think, that's ridiculous. They're both out-and-out centre-forwards. How can you play the two of them together? And they were brilliant together. And so you got opportunities for two strikers, because normally you think, well, Liz will have to be on the bench because Alan Shearer's going to start.
Well, when Newcastle signed Shearer, the story was, where's Les Ferdinand going?
Yeah, exactly.
He was going nowhere because they played him together.
There's actually, I mean, if you think about it now, I mean, it might be something we get back to at some point. I mean, maybe not. But for Liverpool at the moment, when you think about moving forward, whoever's in charge and whatever happens this season, they're not selling Isak or Ekitike in the summer, are they?
No.
So they've got to find a way. And even if they go to a 3 and someone comes in and plays a 3-5-2. Because I think Isak and Ekitike up top as a 2 is going to cause teams problems. Both fully fit and raring to go. You don't necessarily need the goals coming from wingers when you've got two strikers. Salah's nearing the end. Gakpo's not everybody's cup of tea. That could be the way forward.
Or as, remember Mark Kennedy, the former Liverpool winger, said on Weekend Sports Breakfast, Mo Salah is yesterday's man. That's how he described him. Interesting.
Is that a song title?
What, do you want to sing it?
I don't know it. Is that why you brought it up?
No, I'm just saying that's him describing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, to describe a Premier League starter with the record he's got as yesterday's man, it's quite a bold thing to say, I thought.
But some people are going to say it, aren't they? Because inevitably there's got to come a point where his numbers wane.
And they are doing.
They are. So you're going to get people who want to be brave early and go, he's done.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened on the Weekend Sports Breakfast. This is Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaware.org. We'll get back to that debate about the quality or lack of in the Premier League a little bit later on talkSPORT.
Your record at home is so bad.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem you've got with Spurs is there's a real toxic feeling throughout the football club. When you look at the top in terms of the ownership and the changing of some of the hierarchy there, Daniel Levy moving on, nothing has really changed, Ray. You know, the reality is with Tottenham that they talk like they want to be a big club, but they don't act like a big club. They don't want to pay the big club wages in general. Look, they've made a bit of a shift in terms of Conor Gallagher, for example. But, you know, you look at that January transfer window, that absolutely has killed us by not improving and investing into the squad. You know, we knew going into that window we were absolutely decimated by injuries, but the board chose not to give Thomas Frank any kind of opportunity to really fight and try and see if there's a way out of his current predicament when he was struggling. And Tudor's come into a battle where, quite honestly, at the moment, I'm really, really unsure whether we've made the right decision. But at the time, you know, he was a firefighter, but I think he's walked into Tottenham, and you've heard in there in the press conferences, I think he doesn't realise until he's got in there the actual mess the club are in. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if another couple of defeats, they may look to change him, because I'm worried that in his first 2 games, he's gone in on the players and absolutely buried them.
Has, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they probably deserve being buried, but how is that productive in terms of trying to get results out of this group? I don't know, when you're already decimated by injuries and you've got 12 to 13 players fit to work with.
It's a little bit harsh having a go at him straight away when he's only been in having 2 games, Ricky, but I can understand it, because for me it was a kind of strange appointment. I'm still a little bit concerned at some of the body language from his first players.
This evening on talkSPORT 2, it is Birmingham against Middlesbrough. If you want that, then just make sure you've got the talkSPORT app on your device, on your phone, and you can get talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2, Times Radio, Talk Radio, all the Virgin music stations, including the best Virgin 80s, are all available on the talkSPORT app. It's time now to get an odds update with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Well, Nicola McGeady from Ladbrokes is with us. Let's talk about that game on talkSPORT 2 tonight in the Championship. Birmingham against Middlesbrough is interesting because Middlesbrough are where they are in the league, Nicola, but Birmingham's home form is sensational.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one for punters. I mean, they're definitely torn. Middlesbrough, slight favourites at 29-20. And obviously, as you mentioned, they hold the higher position in the league and they boast a superior head-to-head record. They've beat them in the last 6 meetings, but they are winless in their last 3 games. Birmingham's unbeaten run, it did come to a halt against Millwall, but they do have strong home record, as you said. They're 17-10 to get back to winning ways. I think the draw is holding a lot of appeal here at 12-5. I think all in all, it's incredibly close, just judging by the match betting alone. Both teams to score, it feels like an obvious selection. You know, it's landing in 8 of Birmingham's last 9 home games, while Middlesbrough, they failed to keep a clean sheet away from home since October. So that's priced at 13-20 here. Both sides have been making a habit of playing out draws, as we've seen in recent weeks, and 1-1 draw here is proving popular with our punters at 5-1. And Riley McGree, he's popular anytime goal scorer pick at 3-1 as he returns to his former club in excellent form. It has to be said, he's scored 3 goals in his last 3 appearances.
They're trying to get into the Premier League. That's live on talkSPORT 2 tonight. What about the Premier League itself? Narrow wins for Man City Saturday, Arsenal Sunday. How are we looking with the Premier League outright?
Yeah, it's all very interesting. Top 4 relegation. Outright, though, Arsenal just solidified their status as the clear title favourites, with their odds shortening to 4-9 after that crucial 2-1 win over Chelsea. It was certainly a hard-fought win. It had everyone, I think, on the edge of their seats. But look, Man City remain the only challengers really at 7-4 after narrowing the gap on Saturday, though they still trail by 5 points with the game in hand. But yeah, Arsenal's win led City's odds to drift slightly, but this head-to-head match in April will be absolutely crucial. But the top 4 has seen a real shift, Adrian. Man United, they moved into 3rd position after they saw off Palace. It's been a long time since they sat 3rd in the league, so they're 130 on to finish in the top 4, followed by Liverpool, who are 4-7. And then Villa's hopes took a real hit after they were beaten by Wolves. They're 11-10. Chelsea are 3-1, but that defeat at the weekend was a real setback for them. And then relegation, I think Spurs with a big talking point here, especially after that loss to Fulham. Their odds really crashed and they're now 7-2 to go down.
Coming up next on Kickoff, or a little bit later on Kickoff, we'll be picking out Satisfaction moments of the weekend, Nicola. So, what was yours from the weekend?
Well, Adrian, I'm a Man United fan, so just the fact that, you know, they moved into 3rd place after that comeback win over Palace. Carrick now holds the joint best start by any manager in the Premier League history after 9 games. So, and it's the first time they're in the top 3, I think, since May 2023. So that did it for me.
Okay, listen, Michael Carrick, actually, we'll talk about this in a moment with the guys. Nicola, thank you very much. That's Ladisfaction. We'll be picking our very own Ladisfaction magic moments of the weekend a little bit later on the show. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaware.org.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
So, Danny Murphy, Shaun Custis. Just a quick one. This is unscheduled. This is putting you on the spot. About manager of the season, okay? And it's a bit hypothetical in terms of what they might do. So Keith Andrews possibly getting Brentford into Europe, and he's never had any managerial experience before. Michael Carrick coming in and turning a sinking ship around and getting them into the Champions League next season. Or, if it is to be Arsenal, Mikel Arteta winning the title. Let's say that, and they normally go with your title winners, but pound for pound, who should it be, do you think?
Reggie Lebray.
Keeping Sunderland up so comfortably.
Yeah, I tend to think that as well. No, you don't look at me like, but you're a Newcastle fan. I'm talking as a journalist.
But you don't mean it.
I think he's done an amazing job. He reinvented that team after they got promotion. Got rid of everybody, basically. Brought in a whole new squad. And everybody, when I'm on these sort of programmes, certainly the professional footballers say, oh, it takes ages to bed them in, and you've got to give them 6 months and all of that. He had about 13 or 14 players who bedded in straight away. They've dropped off a little bit since then, since the start of the season. But the way they started that season, and he has secured their place in the Premier League already.
They've never been in the conversation.
No.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And I think that it shows that if you do spend the required amount of money, but let's face it, Habib Diarra was 30 million, and I don't think Burnley or Leeds spent that much on anyone.
It's also the player profile, not just the
Yeah.
You know, they went for legs, physicality, legs. There's more than that in the team, but they are a strong outfit, fit, quick, tenacious,
well managed,
well coached.
Yeah.
But if you get your recruitment pretty good, and you've got a really good coach, tends to be a good mix. It's not rocket science.
No, it isn't. But they've done it more comfortably than I think anybody anticipated.
Yeah.
And in Enzo Lefebvre, they've got a player who, we mentioned it before.
Apart from his Panenkas.
Yeah, don't do that from the spot. But he's a joy to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, and the kind of gives that entertainment value. Yes, they've got to have your Dan Ballard, who I think is entertaining in his own way, but Dan Ballard, who's so solid at the back and really gets the crowd fired up.
I like Robbie.
Yeah, he's been
good.
Yeah.
But you think about Ballard. Ballard wasn't actually always starting games in the Championship.
I know.
And now he's become a regular Premier League player. Isidore wasn't starting games all the time in the Championship either. And he's become a fairly influential player, not always starting for Sunderland, but he's become fairly influential. So he's managed to get the best. You think he changed the whole team virtually and said, I need stronger players. Yet he's kept two players in those two who weren't even starting from in the Championship, and they've done well in the Premier League. That's got to be good coaching, hasn't it? Even though, as you say, he spent a few quid as well.
He's made some very tough decisions. So not giving Chris Rigg any minutes. Anthony Patterson, the keeper's gone already. Dan Neil, who was captain last season, is already at Millwall on loan.
Ruthless.
I mean, that's the word, isn't it? It is ruthless. But he's done what he felt he had to do. I mean, you're faced with a choice: Dan Neil or Granit Xhaka. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? He's been fortunate that they brought in Xhaka and the money he's on, but. You know, you've got to play him.
But he's also retained somebody like Luke O'Nien, who is a real stalwart and great character at Sunderland, and somebody who's really important, I think, in the dressing room, yet barely playing, let's be honest. But he's sort of loved by the fans, loved by the players, and is the glue, really.
I think also Keith Andrews would be in the shout.
Yeah.
If
they get into Europe.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't write him off, but a lot of people did. You know, I thought they'd struggle a bit.
Well, I thought they'd struggle, but because of the players they'd lost, not necessarily because of Keith Andrews. He was an unknown quantity. But the players they lost, that's tough to recover from, and he's done that more than adequately.
I think he's done, really, really good job. And there was a bit of pressure on him, but it wasn't the pressure that is like on Arteta, for instance. So if you think mentally, who was done the best job managerial, if he win the league, that's quite hard for him to win the league, isn't it? Because he must have been crushed by the last 5 or 6 seasons.
I think that's why they normally give it to the winner, don't they?
But to get over the line would be a phenomenal achievement in some ways, because he's suffered, if you like, if you can call it suffering.
Maybe.
Look, yes, I gather you're not much of a fan. I don't care who wins the league. I honestly don't, because it isn't going to be Newcastle. So I don't care who wins the league. But I think it's hard for him to bridge that gap, and if he does it, it might make him a lot better.
Do you think Arsenal fans would rather win the league than the Champions League if they had a choice?
That's a great question.
I think if Arsenal win the Champions League, which they've got a hell of a chance of doing, by the way, and lose the league, I don't think Arsenal fans will criticise Arteta.
On that bombshell, we will revisit that. But Arsenal fans may want to have their say about that as well. We'll also talk about whether Arsenal's style of play is a worry. That's coming up on Kickoff on talkSPORT.
time, a lot of respect for you, as much as I've got a lot of respect for Emmanuel Petit. But for you to say, it's either you've got your ears shut and your eyes shut, not to know that. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of the fans have not explained it properly. Emmanuel Petit is bang on right, and so is Martin Keown. Petit's probably not explained it right to use. But if you look at it, right, even going back as far as Adrian Durham, when Arsenal, under Arsene Wenger, who was one of the greatest managers ever, who, I said this to you before, Simon, who had his arms tied behind his back at some stages, had to sell our best
Your own
players.
fans ate your manager at the end.
No. Simon, this is where you get it all wrong, mate.
Oh,
right?
they didn't then.
No, I'll tell you why you get it wrong. Arsenal are the biggest supported club in London, right?
Yep.
Behind Manchester United and Liverpool, they're one of the biggest supported clubs around the world. Man United and Liverpool have got the most, then it's Arsenal. It's a known fact.
Yep.
Social media and Arsenal fans on social media is what's caused all this poison. And you said it, Simon, right? You just said it earlier.
Yeah.
You said there ain't a thing against Arsenal, but the first thing you said was they think they've got to give them right, and they think this. No, Simon, we don't think we've got to give them right, because I've been going Arsenal 37 years. I've seen us win 5 league titles, right? I'm a good fan. I've been there through the thick and thin, yeah? When Arsenal was doing poor towards the end of Wenger's reign, how comes there was a daily Arsenal?
Monaco, Singapore, Las Vegas. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all F1 street circuits. 20 years ago, the sports only visited 3 a year. From 2026, there'll be 10, despite the actual racing often being worse. So why? Why are there so many street circuits? Cars racing past the Casino Monte Carlo is one of the iconic images in all of sport. But in the last few years, it's been joined in the Street Circuit Club by the dazzling Grand Prix on the Las Vegas Strip, in Miami, Azerbaijan and others. And there's no sign of the trend slowing down. The streets of Madrid have also gotten involved, and there are conversations about Grand Prix in the capitals of Thailand and Rwanda. But fitting them in means we said goodbye to classic circuits like Hockenheim and Imola, angering fans who are still packing out the European tracks like Spa, the Hungaroring and Monza. And these generally produce more wheel-to-wheel action than street circuits too. At Silverstone in 2025, there were a total of 26 on-track overtakes. At Monaco, 4. I'm an F1 enthusiast. Even I struggle with that. But it appears to be a good step. In 2025, there was a record 2.3 million strong viewership for the Monaco Grand Prix in the US alone. Meanwhile, for the British Grand Prix several weeks later, 1.5 million tuned in. So why are we seeing this drive towards street circuits? Well, no prizes for guessing. Money. Formula One demands a fee of between $20 and $60 million for the rights to even hold an event. In total, including
Monday night kickoff on talkSPORT through till 10. We are reviewing the Premier League weekend with the former England midfielder Danny Murphy and director of Sun Sport, Shaun Custis. I brought a smile to your face.
I know.
He's a director now. I remember when he was just a writer.
Yeah, you loved me better then, didn't you?
I've got a mate, actually. I didn't know this about him.
You've got a mate?
I have just the one. And he's just messaged me saying that he did work experience with you years ago. So I'm going to find out a bit of juicy detail about you, and we're going to reveal it all on air a little bit later on. So look forward to that. So here we go. Right? Let's talk about Arsenal's style of play. I'm gonna put my cards on the table here. I don't have a problem with how Arsenal play. I have a problem with how they're refereed, but I don't have a problem with how they play. If they want to, cause mayhem at corners in order to score the goals that will get them the title, they've got every right to do that. And I don't necessarily think it's a big problem or a big turn-off. I think that the chaos caused can be quite entertaining. When referees, PGMO, came out and said at the start of the season there's going to be a higher threshold on physical challenges, that basically said to Arteta, right, let's just foul everybody in the penalty area. There was the incident yesterday with Declan Rice where he concedes 2 penalties in one movement, and neither are given by the refs or VAR. He's basically, it's not mutual holding. He's holding the opponent, and he deliberately moves his elbow towards the ball, and he handballs it below the T-shirt line. Okay.
I don't think he deliberately moved his arm to the ball. He's in the air going for a header.
So do you think his arms, which are around an opponent's neck, are in a natural position, Danny Murphy?
I've only seen it really quickly once, so I won't.
Good grief. Come on.
I think the problem you've got at the moment, if you take away Arsenal from the question, is that there's so much going on and so many different things. It's very hard for the officials to actually pinpoint one and go, we're going to give that one when there's so much else going on.
Is it that hard? When there's VAR, is it that hard?
It's not. Not always. Sometimes they miss an obvious one. We think, how the hell's that not given? We've seen it. Someone's got their back turned, holding someone. It's like, it's a pen. But I think now, because so many teams have taken on what Arsenal have done and copying, there's so many copycats out there, which is inevitable when they're doing so well. Because there's so many body checks and so much grappling and so much going on, it's nearly impossible to isolate one and go, that's worse than that.
Indeed, I think that as well. There could be 8 penalty offences, I think, on any given corner.
Yeah.
And also, these set-piece coaches who are coaching you how to score from a set-piece are equally coaching you how to stop one. So they're all saying, don't look at the ball, just look at this man. So there's 5 different players not looking at the ball, all looking at the man. And for people like yourself who are at the game, who are commentating or whatever, when the whistle goes and gives a pen, I don't know how you decide what it was for. It's got like rugby union, eh? Why is that a penalty in rugby union? How do you know instantly what it's for?
I can't remember the exact rules, but I think if your back is facing play and you're in contact with someone, they can give a pen for that.
Yeah, but that happens all the time now.
I know, but they should just start giving them.
Well,
I do think there's a responsibility for them to give what they see, even if they miss something else.
But I also think, because of what you're saying, there's so many incidents. I think that referees, officials have a duty to do their homework, i.e. watch players week in, week out.
Get ready for it,
Yeah, and so they know, right, I see Gabriel's doing that every week. By the way, Gabriel's got 3 bookings this season. How on earth has he only got 3 bookings this season? Somebody please explain that to me. But you say, Gabriel always does this, it's Saliba always doing this, whatever it might be, whoever it is, Declan Rice, he's always got his arms around. They should be doing it. They should be referees. This is their homework. This is their preparation.
I think they probably
for games.
do. I'd hope they do. I think one of the other things I find a bit strange, although I've been educated by a referee, a former referee I was talking to about this.
Brainwashed.
You know when it's all going on before the ball's coming in, and then the refs come in and go, you two cut it out, you two stop that, bum. Now the reason they do that,
this should be good,
which I find frustrating. The reason they do that is because part of the referee's responsibility and role as a ref is to prevent situations before they arise. So that made sense. The problem is with that mentality, which is why I think it needs to go, is that it elongates these things. And also because they just get a little telling off, they don't stop doing it because they very rarely get punished for it anyway. So the telling off is like, when you say to your kids, oh, you do that again, and then you don't follow it through. Then there's not a follow through from the telling off. So I think they scrap that. You two behave, come on, come here, I'll have a chat with you. And then there's another 30 seconds, another 60 seconds. Stop all that. I think it would help the flow of the game. And also, you would see these incidents be more punished because they're there happening and there's no warning.
Our esteemed chief sports correspondent, Martin Lipton's written a column tomorrow where he says it should start from the moment you put the ball down for the corner.
Absolutely.
So at the minute, it doesn't, of course. You wait till the kick's taken. But if you put the ball down for the corner, right, there's any grappling now, that's it. It's penalty, whatever.
That would solve a lot.
That would solve a lot.
Well, the other thing is, but with that, and this is where it's ironic, these are the mad little rules and things where it gets silly. So if you're marking me on a corner and I slap you around the face and the ball's not in play, I'm getting sent off.
Yes, you are. But
violent conduct,
But if I foul you, it's not a pen when the ball's not in play. It's like, just make it a foul.
The game's gone crazy.
It's mad.
Right, let's hear from Arne Slot. Now, today, ironic this, he's been criticising the importance of set pieces, even if it did help them over the weekend.
Do I like it? My football heart doesn't like it. I already said once in this press conference, if you ask me then thinking about football, I think about 10, 15 years ago about the Barcelona team. Every Sunday evening you were hoping that they would play. And now most of the games I see in the Premier League are not, for me, a joy to watch. But it's always interesting because it's so competitive. And that is what makes this league great, because there's so much competitiveness. Everyone can win from everyone. But just as someone who loves to watch football without being interested in who's winning or losing it, just to be enjoyed, I think there's a big difference now between 3 or 4 years ago in the Premier League.
Well, when Jurgen Klopp was managing Liverpool. Is that what he's saying there? Listen, Liverpool themselves, by the way, they got rid of their set-piece coach at the end of December.
And got a new one.
Well, they didn't get a new one.
Oh, well.
The set pieces.
Well, they just had another coach doing the set.
Well, all the organisation was absorbed by the coaches that are there already, and their set piece conceding of goals has gone down, and scoring of goals has gone up. They were bottom of the table.
Top now.
Set piece, now they're top. So I'm a bit bemused by what he's saying there. Slot actually said at the end of December, when their set piece record was poor, if you were to exclude set pieces, the world would look very different. Cheers for that, mate. I'd find it really odd that he's gone down this road. First of all, he's comparing Premier League football now with that great Barcelona side. I mean, nobody comes out.
I think what he's doing, I could see him not prepped for that one. And he's thinking about, what do I like? What do I enjoy? So I'll just be honest. Yes, I preferred watching that great Barca side, or the Dutch football when, the 4-3-3 and everyone
Total
played.
football and all that.
All that stuff, yeah. And I think he's just caught in the moment, not really thinking it through. The reality is, we all love that Barca side and we all love beautiful football, but you need the best players to do it. You've got to find different ways, haven't you?
We haven't just invented set pieces this season. He's going, well, you look back 15 years ago and all that. You were playing, as somebody who was playing 15 years ago, what did managers used to say to you about set pieces? You wanted to win free kicks on the edge of the box, didn't you?
We used to work on them so hard.
But you must have worked on them in a different way to how they're being worked on now, because I'm not sure you all spent your time looking away from the ball and grabbing.
No, but there was still more. There was still a lot of stuff on the blocking, and
there was a lot of blocking off, wasn't there?
A lot of blocking off, and the other thing as well, why we don't remember a lot of the pulling and the not so much the not facing
so forensic,
not so forensic, and we didn't have the VAR. So I've seen goals on set plays with pieces where somebody's missed a. Somebody's face head nearly getting taken off. Then they score and you're like, ref! Yeah. It's like, no, sorry.
Okay, my view on this is that VAR, on the set pieces, VAR has actually changed the game so much that referees are feeling like, and this is a guess from me, but I'm looking at it, because referees would have pulled up a lot that gets left now. And I think referees are thinking, well, if it is that bad, there's so much going on, can I make a call on it? If it is that bad, VAR will spot it, so just let it be. And I can understand that mentality. I do understand that mentality. So, yet again, in another way, and we'll talk about VAR a little bit later on, VAR has ruined the game. But generally, though, I don't really have a problem with this set-piece thing. Oh, the game's terrible because there's loads of set-pieces. Or Arsenal are terrible because there's loads of set-pieces. I don't buy into that.
I know we have loads more stats nowadays, and you probably don't know, Danny, but did the manager say, look, we've scored loads of goals from set pieces last season, let's see if we can do it again? Or statistically, we get a lot of goals from corners. Was that ever said?
Oh, yeah. No, the numbers were there then. I mean, I remember in the early days when Houllier got Tomo on the set plays and all that, they were looking at all simple things like how many we'd score with outswingers compared to in-swingers. Back post, near post, simple thing, and obviously when we brought Gary Mack in, who had that wonderful relationship with Dion at Coventry with the little dink one, we started using that for Sami Hyypiä. Started getting loads of joy from it. So we were always working and trying. And I remember Curbs at Charlton and Mervyn Day was mad on set plays. We used to work on them loads because we knew that it was, in certain games, an opportunity for us to against better opposition. So it's actually the numbers and this is why I got some stick. I think I was criticising the fact that we have set-piece coaches. I actually wasn't. I was saying that set-piece coaches have always been there. Now they're just giving them a special name and saying, bringing someone in to go, you're a set-piece coach. The set-piece coach was normally one of the three guys sat with the manager who worked every day with the lads.
Yeah.
The set plays have always been important, always. And I love watching inventive set plays. I love teams who find ways to score from them. I don't like seeing injustices when we see silliness on what we're talking about and the refs not having the courage to give them or VAR missing it because there's so much going on. Don't like seeing that. But I'm like you. I love seeing different set plays and seeing teams cope because ultimately one of the things in football that makes you a great side is defending. And if you've got, I will say this, irrelevant of, so say you play in Arsenal now. If you had, let's say you had Sammy Ipia and John Terry, your centre halves, yeah. Just throw them two in for now. You put them two in it. I reckon they'd still win more headers than everyone else because they just love heading it. And Vidic, throw him in there. Put them three in there. Arsenal wouldn't be scoring goals. It's just about the art of defending. Too many centre halves in the Premier League think they're Bobby Moore. And they've forgotten how to defend.
I also think that Brentford really gave them a taste of their own medicine at set pieces, and they didn't.
They've got
like
some
it.
big boys as well.
Yeah, exactly that. So if you try and give it back to them, then that may be the way forward against Arsenal to stop them winning the league. You're listening to Kick-Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaware.org. We'll do our magic moments next.
Chelsea are winless against Arsenal. In 8 league games against Arsenal, Chelsea have lost 5 and drawn 3, scoring 6, conceding 15. Arsenal also won both legs of the Carabao Cup semi-final this season between the sides. So, I mean, you have to go back a long, long way when Chelsea did anything against Arsenal. You're right, Emmanuel. And here's the thing. Chelsea's co-owner, Todd Boehly, has been speaking about this. He spoke at the iConnections conference on their arrival in English football.
Having taken over in the circumstances we did, basically the whole management team left.
Yeah.
Right? So you know, I was stuck being interim sporting director for a summer, having no idea what made a good football player.
Yeah, right.
But knowing that, you know, Mark Cucurella, if Man City wants him, I want him.
Yeah, right.
It was really simple that way.
That's pretty simple.
He says, Simon, the whole management team left. Well, they kind of did because he sacked them.
Well, he sacked the manager, didn't he?
Right. So out they went. I mean, does Boehly's latest story there, though, Simon, not fly in the face of your compelling and capable image that you have of these characters like Todd Boehly?
I didn't say Todd Boehly, did I? I
said Egbali.
I said it after Egbali. I met Todd Boehly in Qatar. I thought Todd was okay, commercially minded man, clearly successful. When I talked about compelling people, it was directly relational to Egbali. It had no reference to Todd Boehly in there.
I just want to qualify what I said a moment ago about stopping Arsenal winning the league. I actually think they will win the league, and I think they've been the best team so far. So if they do win the league, there's not a lot any of us can do about it.
And they've scored the most goals.
That's true, but there's a lot of people don't want Arsenal to win the league.
Why do you care? You're a Peterborough United fan. Why does it bother you whether Arsenal win the league or not?
Have you met any Arsenal fans?
Yeah, I've got quite a few friends who are
Right,
Arsenal
and
fans.
you know how
He
delusional...
lives with one.
No, I'm married to one. Yeah, I know.
So that's what does it for you then.
No, the irony is that if they win the league, she'll be really happy, which is obviously good for me.
Yes.
But it's just their fans. It will be unbearable.
They have a social media following group of fans that can be a little bit irritating, don't they?
Yeah, very.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not a little bit.
But you could argue quite a few teams have groups of fans who are irritating on social media. It's just the way the world's got, isn't it?
I think Arsenal are kind of louder, noisier than most, and I think that they were so negative about their football club for so long that it was too brutal. You know, they were so. You know, remember Emmanuel Aboué getting booed to the point where he cried as he went off the pitch. That's his own fans doing that. So now I'm now looking at these Arsenal fans thinking, oh, you're giving it the big one. They give it the big one about Arsenal. I'm sorry, I'm on one here. They give it the big one about Arsene Wenger's football, how brilliant it was, and look how fantastic it was. And now they're loving this. Seriously. And even though I haven't got a problem with Arsenal's football, it's nowhere near what they were doing at the turn of the century. So anyway, you've got me started on one now. It is time to look at our magic moments of the weekend, all thanks to Ladisfaction from Ladbrokes.
Magic moments of the weekend on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
And we've all gone for Arsenal moments. No, we haven't at all. There's no magic moments at the Emirates yesterday. Danny Murphy, what have you gone for, sir?
I've gone for a goal that I saw live and had a great angle of it, so it kind of elevated it for me. Was the Iwobi goal. Just a great technical goal. It's a
side foot finish. Yeah.
And it was a side foot where I think he's actually tried to hit it left to right to come out and then back in. Nice and looks relaxed. It was just a goal I didn't expect from him, to be perfectly honest.
He's capable of those.
It was a Harry Wilson finish.
Okay. Maybe he's learned it from him in training.
Well, he set him up for it, ironically.
And it's a genuine question, were you thinking at any point the keeper should have done better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always do when
it's a long way out, isn't it? It's a long way out, isn't it?
Donnarumma would have saved it. Let's put it that way. Alisson would have saved it, yeah.
Okay. Alex Iwobi's finished. Good choice. I've gone for the round Cherky pass. I actually thought for a while, he's been left out of the team for a while. He left out the starting lineup a little bit, which has surprised me, to be honest. But I thought if he was playing regularly and City did win the league, I thought he had a chance of Player of the Year because he's that good. He's entertaining. I mean, this is somebody who's an entertainer. This is somebody who I enjoy watching in the Premier League.
Yep.
And that pass, it just epitomised what he's so good at. It was perfect. I think only certain players can spot and execute that pass to perfection, and he did that. So he's high level.
With his weak foot as well.
Yeah.
So-called weaker foot.
But he doesn't even get an assist for that.
No.
So in this world where we drown in statistics, and you're always on about them on Match of the Day and the like, and we go all these stats.
Only if it suits the argument.
He gets nothing. He gets nothing for that. Would he get a goal involvement for that?
Don't think so.
No, but I think the great thing about assists, if you constantly have good numbers with assists, then you might have one or two lucky ones, but you're doing something right. And I think with him, his creativity and his brilliant moments are being rightly applauded. But I think it's because we see so little bravery these days. When we get De Bruyne doing it every week, didn't we? But Bruno's another one who constantly risks the ball to win games. I'm going to make the difference. I'm going to put the cross in. I'm going to try the through ball, and I'm going to risk the moans and the groans, and I'm going to risk my teammates saying, keep the ball, keep the ball. Cherky does not play with that fear at all. And that's why people are loving what he's doing.
Which Bruno are you talking about there then? Is there only one Bruno?
Oh, sorry, Bruno Fernandes, yeah.
Right.
Well, the other Bruno...
Just to clarify, it's like when people go United. Which United is that then?
But Bruno Guimaraes,
is he all right as well?
He's another one.
Okay.
He is, isn't he? He's brave.
So, Shaun, what are you going for?
Well, it has to be Jordan Pickford, unfortunately, which wasn't a magic moment in my eyes, although it obviously was a magic moment for Everton. And that is a save that, as Tonali hit that, Tonali thinks it's going in. Everton's defence thinks it's going in. Pickford probably thinks it's going in. And he knew when he saved that, he knew he'd pulled out a special save that. And much as he's a Sunderland fan, much as he's a Sunderland man, I do think he's a top-class keeper, and I still do not understand why a really, really top club has never gone for him, because they haven't. Can you think of any time?
I think
no,
they don't. Well, I don't know if they have or they haven't. I'm pretty sure they haven't, because he'd have gone, wouldn't he? But
so why do you think that is?
I think it's presence.
But he's got. Has he not got a good presence? He's commanding for England.
He's 6 foot. Okay,
too small.
I think so. And and it's harsh because I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. But my view of it is, remember the quarterfinal in Qatar against France?
Yes, Tchouameni.
Donnarumma saves that because he's literally taller. It's
But it's like he makes a mistake or doesn't quite get to one once in every how many?
Yeah, true. I think over the years it's probably been his lack of the presence more on crosses.
You don't think he's very strong in the area?
But that's because he's not tall, surely.
Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's him being scared. I think he just thinks I can't come through that. You've got to have a serious. Donnarumma's a massive bloke. Alisson's a big lad. I actually think he's better now than he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be so confident in himself and so comfortable with himself. And if he makes a mistake, it doesn't. He still gets emotional occasionally. But I think the last couple of years, Pickford's elevated himself into being a really top keeper.
I wouldn't want anybody else in nets for England.
No,
there's nobody comes close to it.
But I think that exactly what you just said when you bring. Certainly, we talked about it with the Wobie goal. Keepers like Donnarumma, Alisson, who else can I think of at the moment? Courtois. I mean, they make saves that are amazing saves, not only because of their agility, but because of their span. And they get to balls that no other keepers can get to. So when you're talking, Pickford's kind of like tier 2, isn't he? They're the best probably 3 in the world, aren't they?
Yeah, I
and then he's in the group below.
I do take the point that I'm surprised a Champions League club hasn't come in for Jordan Pickford. I think it is because of the size, but he's so good. I think that they might have thought...
And he's great with his feet.
We'll go with it. Yeah, he is brilliant.
Yeah, he is. But like Chelsea, they know... Why wouldn't they come in from there?
They've got a really good goalkeeper already. I'm joking.
No, it's a good shout.
Danny, can I ask you what you thought of the save? Pickford's save?
It was a really good save.
Yeah.
Brilliant strength. Like real strength, that's the key to the save.
I've said that it would break most of our wrists if we put our hand in front.
I think I'd save it.
You think?
No. But it's in his vicinity. He doesn't have to go across the goal to get it. It's near him. It's the strength of the arm that makes the save really good. In terms of agility, he's there, isn't he? He's not that far away from it, and he's instinctive. He's always had good instincts. Well, any keeper has, it wouldn't be a goalie. But it's the strength of it. I don't think it was as good as Donnarumma's at Anfield, for example.
But it's also a magic moment, isn't it? Because it matters.
Yeah,
last
minute.
It's really important. It's at the end, so it's a more magic moment than if he'd saved it in the, I don't know.
You've hit the brief.
On the hour mark, and they'd been 3-0 up or something. It really mattered. If you think of Gibbs White's goal for Forest, for instance, that's an absolute stock. That's a magic moment, but you lost the game.
Yeah. You've absolutely nailed the brief there, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're not fired. Those were our magic moments of the weekend that brought us Ladisfaction from Ladbrokes 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Magic moments of the weekend on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Going to be talking about Leeds 0, Manchester City 1, and of course, I didn't really want to do it, but we will be talking about the VAR shockers as well from the weekend. That's all coming up on Kickoff.
It's massively disappointing that some Leeds United fans booed when Manchester City's players broke their fast during the first half of the match at Elland Road this evening. This was compounded by the fact that an explanation was displayed on a big screen inside the stadium. Pausing the game to allow Muslim players to break their fast during Ramadan has been an agreed protocol for several years now. It has been. It's been in place for about 4 to 5 years now. Emmanuel, in your view, I don't know if this happened in French football, but how badly did some Leeds fans let themselves down?
I don't like it. In fact, I hate it.
You hate what? You hate what? The fact that they booed?
Yes, definitely. Because first of all, it's the protocol. But I think more important than that is the political environment we're living in this world, actually. And I totally agree with what Pep just said. And we need more love in this world. You know, there is war everywhere. There is racism coming from everywhere now. And I'm quite scared about what will happen in the future. And to be honest, the world we're living to our kids, you know. And this is not the kind of message, you know, that for me is very helpful for this world. And if you switch on the television or if you started to read newspapers, you want to commit suicide right now, because the world we're living is poor. And what happened, you know, at Leeds, it's terrible. And I'm pretty sure it's not a reflection of what the vast majority of Leeds fans think.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
It's kick-off on talkSPORT. I'm Adrian Durham, Danny Murphy, Shaun Custis with us through till 10 as we review the Premier League weekend of football. We'll be talking about VAR. We're talking about Newcastle shambles, pressure on Eddie Howe. I don't know how you want to phrase it, but they're not very good. And Michael Carrick at United, should he get the job, etc. Loads more as well. Live on talkSPORT 2 right now. It's Birmingham 0, Middlesbrough 0. That's live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2 here on talkSPORT. It is kick-off. Director of Sun Sport, Shaun Custis, you excited about the Newcastle chat coming up?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do to me in that one.
It's what Eddie Howe's doing to you. That's the problem. We will talk about that later on. Danny Murphy is with us as well. Didn't quite rate the Jordan Pickford save as much as Shaun Custis did.
It was a really good save.
Not as good as Donnaruma's at Anfield. Is that right?
Correct.
Fair. Okay. Thank you very much. Just getting the facts straight. That's all. No, so people aren't confused.
Better asking a goalie.
I thought you could do everything on the pitch.
Didn't you ask a goalie the other day?
Matt Murray, the ex-Wolves goalkeeper, was with us on Game Day Live on Saturday, and I sent him a video. He was at the Burnley-Brentford, which wasn't, of course, not an entertaining game in any way whatsoever. Premier League's really rubbish. He was at that game, so I sent him a video of the save, and he said, yeah, terrific save, not as good as Donnaruma's at Anfield.
There you go.
There you go. You having that then?
Yep.
And to be fair to Danny Murphy, he came in and said exactly that before I'd told him what Matt Murray had said. Obviously, Danny was listening on Saturday. Leeds 0, Man City 1 on Saturday evening. Antoine Semenyo with the goal, which was the difference. And they did it without Erling Haaland. So there's been a lot of talk about whether they can cope without Haaland's goals. They coped without Erling Haaland. And actually, I say they coped. Leeds could have been, Shaun, maybe 3 up in the first half, couldn't they?
Yeah, they had a lot of chances. There's no doubt about it. But this thing about coping without Haaland, it's all very well, but you'd rather have him in the team, wouldn't you? So that you can cope, but it's not as good as.
Yeah, but they might not have him like Saturday.
Was it last season or season before when he was injured for quite some time, and they won it. They found a way, so they can do it, but you'd rather have him. And also, when you talk about Leeds had quite a few chances, Haaland defensively this season has been very, very good, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's been a beast.
Yeah,
everybody says he'd be the best centre-half in the Premier League if he was. So they miss him defensively as well. So it's not just about his goals.
No, he was their best defender in the game recently. I'm trying to remember which one it was. The Newcastle game, wasn't it? He was absolutely brilliant.
I don't know why I'm nodding. Yes. Get so used to now being on that telly.
But they've won 4 in a row in the Premier League, and they've just started. And obviously they're winning games, in FA Cup. They've been winning the Champions League. They've started a winning role. But they always give up chances to teams like the Leeds chances. I had a look back at some of the more recent games. And they beat Wolves towards the end of January. They beat them 2-0 at the Etihad. Sounds comfortable, relatively convincing, but Wolves had a lot of chances.
That was the game I was talking about, the one I mentioned earlier on. The Wolves gave them a bit of a shock when I was saying the Wolves were the worst team. And actually in that game, Wolves did play very, very well.
This is City's way of playing, though. They do give up chances. The opposition have chances to score.
But Arsenal gave up chances against Wolves as well and ended up with a 2-2 draw, didn't they? So maybe it's just Wolves as I say, are a bit better than we think.
What it means to me is, though, that I don't know what your view is, Danny, but that means to me that Man City, because they give up chances in games to opponents, and significant number of chances, not just 1 or 2, enough chances where you probably should score. So Calvert-Lewin should have scored on Saturday. Because they're giving up those chances, I can't see them winning every Premier League game between now and the end of the season. So I'm wondering, do they really have what it takes to overhaul Arsenal at the top of the table?
Well, I agree with you, but the reason why it's so fascinating and so intriguing is because Arsenal, you wouldn't think could have gone to Brentford, Forest and Wolves and not won.
True.
So they're both got these frailties at the moment. And I agree, City have given up. They're not as defensively solid as they once was when they were winning titles every season. That's mainly because they're playing a midfielder at right back. Gets caught out a lot. Diaz looks leggy, although he's a super experienced centre-half and been there and done it. He's not as quick as he was. He's lost the yard. You can see it. And they've never
improved them.
He has. He's helped.
Well, if he's improved them, why are they giving up so many chances?
Well, because you never defend on your own. So although he's improved them because the young lad was playing there, wasn't he? And I also think they've not really had a settled left back. O'Reilly's been moved into midfield. Ain't Nori's come in. They've played Ake there. And you could argue up until the probably last few games where Rodri's looked a bit more like it, he's taken a while to get back to what because he was the best in the world, wasn't he? You know, and the bar was really high and he's had a horrible injury, so it's understandable, but he's not looked the same. So when the teams are playing Man City now and you're watching them, I don't think they're going in with as much fear. Leeds had a right good go on.
Oh.
You know, City wore them down in the end with the constant keeping the ball, moving the ball, and what they do to you, they grind you, and then you lose your energy because you can't. But by then, they could have been 1 or 2 up, and someone will take their chances.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's what I mean, and that's why. I mean, people accuse me of saying Arsenal will win the league because it'll be so much sweeter if they don't, and it will be absolutely. But I genuinely think Arsenal, from this position and seeing what I see with Man City, who are not, I don't think anybody can say with hand on heart, with any conviction, that Man City are the finished article, that they're ready to go.
No, the only one thing with City that you could argue, which is a big deal, and I listen to a lot of United boys do their podcasts who've won more titles than everyone, and they're talking about the experience that when you've got more than a couple who've been there and done it before, as it gets closer, that calmness in games, know-how. That's something you can't. I mean, obviously you gain that by winning them, but when you've got 5, 6, 7 players who've been through it before, it calms the rest down. Whereas Arsenal got one, haven't they? I think.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he can't do that on his own. So you can see it a bit. And the other thing, you could argue City give up chances because they take more risks to win.
Yeah, which could work for them or could work against them.
But you think Semenyu's definitely added something. I think the thing he's added, from watching, actually when you're closer down pitch side, I realised how powerful he was. And City, obviously Haaland's powerful, but they didn't always have that out wide when players go out wide. He's another beast of a footballer as well. Strong.
He is, and we talk about Pep and how he always tries little things and does things. I mean, how many games has it been now? Semenyo's played down the middle with Haaland until he was out. He played him with Mamouche the other day, didn't he? He's gone. I don't really ever seen him play centre forward at Bournemouth. Maybe the odd game. He's gone. Play down the middle. Don't want you tracking full-backs. Play down the middle. It's just like.
And you talk about his physicality. I remember speaking to a coach at Bristol City early days, and they took him, and they weren't sure because he just wasn't in shape at all. And at that time, there was talk that he didn't, eat the right things. And when you're not at that level, not been at a Premier League academy or whatever, that might be the case. You might not live your life as a top professional footballer should. But they got him into shape, and ever since that moment, he's never looked back. And I think he dedicated himself to it. So he had the application I'm talking about professionally as well as the ability, and you put those two together, and he's
been a game changer.
And of course, it's not just in the league. They created a new rule for him so he could play in the Carabao Cup semi-final and managed to get them into the final as well.
That was just extraordinary. Yeah, that's a whole new different debate. Matt Targett, isn't he a Newcastle player? He scored for Middlesbrough tonight at Birmingham. Live on
off there. No VAR though in a champ.
No VAR but can you say definitely he's offside?
No, of course you can't.
He's leaning, isn't he?
Great finish though.
All those leaning ones where the feet are onside, I'm not having them. That's why we'll get onto VAR. Don't get me started now. I just want to say one thing about Leeds Man City, and that was about the fans booing the pause in the game to allow the players to break their fast Ramadan. There was talk afterwards that the fans didn't know. Well, it was on the big screen. And if you don't know it's Ramadan, I think you really need to look at your social circle and who you mix with, because we've known about it for years. This has been happening season after season. So if you don't know about it, I think there's something going wrong with your life where you really need to expand your knowledge and expand.
I think they knew. I think they knew. Maybe some didn't, but you never know. You can't be categorical with these things. But I think when I played, it happened.
Yeah.
Nobody ever did anything, and nobody's done anything.
Did they used to have the break?
Yeah, well, it wasn't so deliberate as in...
They would just go to the touchline and...
Sooner, a few of them would go over and,
while the game was going on.
No, they like it with a stoppage and everyone accepted it and an extra minute or two. But I think it's just a knock-on from everything that's going on.
Yeah, probably.
Politically. And I think, not that we're doing that on this show, thank God, but I think it's a knock-on from that. It's a temporary thing.
Yeah, ultimately it's disrespectful.
It is, absolutely.
If you're booing it and you knew about it, you're out of order. I don't think there's any question about that whatsoever. Kick off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes 18+, gambleaware.org.
He's a new manager. I mean, he'll be talking about the back room, behind the scenes now, and how the club lacks ambition next, because that'll be his next default setting. That's about him. That's not about the players. On the converse, the players should be ashamed of themselves. Those Spurs players are a disgrace. To be in the position that they're in with the quality of the squad that they've got, it transcends just the culture of a football club. It transcends just the backroom, boardroom, whoever it is, the Lewis family or Daniel Levy, and it transcends the manager. It's about individual players thinking that they've gotten more, they're more important than they actually are. They're getting sucked into a relegation battle now. And it's gone beyond a joke now. I mean, I didn't expect them to win at Fulham, but I expect them to put on a commendable performance. I said last week, without wanting to be too much of a doomsday merchant, if they get beat by Palace and Fulham, they've got existential mortal jeopardy now, because they're now in a situation where they follow Liverpool up. They're going to get beat by Liverpool unless they really turn up in that game. And if they can turn up against Liverpool and they can't against Palace and Fulham, then they're cheats.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that Spurs are getting... The only thing that's keeping Spurs in this division is a lack of performance from other sides. The only thing that is a moment in time that will keep Spurs in the Premier League is that West Ham won't win enough games. That's the only thing that will keep them in the league at this moment in time. And the players need to be held accountable. But how you do that, if you want to settle scores and tell these players that have got so much to say for themselves, tell you what they're entitled to, tell you what they should be paid, tell you what treatment they should expect, tell you what they expect of everybody around them. But when it comes to what you expect of them, oh, no, not me, Gov, it's the manager's fault. But the point is that's what you've got right now. So he's got to find a better way than perhaps barracking them in the press.
They haven't won in the league since December the 28th, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
VAR, because we're about to talk about it. Just in case you're new to talkSPORT, actually somebody on Twitter or X or whatever messaged me the other day, said you were calling for VAR. I absolutely was not. From a very early time when it was being talked about, I said no, I do not want it. I even wrote about it in a book in about 2012, so there's the evidence there. I tweeted at the weekend, stop forcing this level of VAR on us. Offside decisions so tight nobody trusts the tech. You've had years to get it right and failed. Strip it back or bin it off. The game is now about VAR, officials, on-field announcements, and Howard Webb's TV show, when it should be about football. And I had a lot of love for that, actually. People saying I don't think I've ever agreed with you about anything, but I do on this one, Adrian, was a common theme. So let's have a look at some of the VAR shockers at the weekend. I'm going to have to leave the... it was Jayden Anthony who was offside by a shoulder, wasn't it, for Burnley. I hate those offsides.
Yeah, that should stop. Feet.
Has to stop.
Just get it back to feet.
Well, they're trialling in the Canadian Premier League Arsene Wenger's daylight between attacker and defender. I don't know.
Too big. It's too big.
Too big?
Too big an advantage, yeah.
Really?
I think so. I think that is too big.
What should it be then? Feet? Just feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Danny Welbeck one where his feet are in his own half, but he's leaning over the halfway line.
Goal.
It's a goal. I mean, how can you rule that out? He's timed his run perfectly, isn't he?
Well, I just think feet it's football. It's
Yeah, but you can score with a header, though, can't you?
You can, but I think if you
No, I
keep
get
it
you.
simple, makes it easier for them, for the officials, and everyone knows then it's just the feet. And if you, it's still going to be hard on some of them because they're tight. But this thing about this business here,
the arm, top of the arm, and all that. Yeah, I'm with you. It really doesn't feel like football, and I think they've got it badly wrong. But what annoys me about it is they're correcting these things as they go along. Now, in any business, when you do a risk assessment, you sort all these things out beforehand. You think, that could happen, that could happen, that. They clearly haven't done it. So they've imposed this nonsense onto us. And here we are, 7 years on? I can't remember years ago. And he's still not right.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was first trialled in, I think, the Nations League tournament in the summer. I think I first saw it. And it actually worked. But it wasn't forensic like it is, so it was really obvious. If you remember, there was a goal scored at one end. It got ruled out and allowed for a penalty at the other. I'm trying to remember the game.
I remember that, yeah.
And you thought, that's ridiculous, but I can sort of see it, and it was a pretty obvious reason for it, and that's fine. I don't think anybody saw us going this forensically, but I was against it from the start. I was always goal line technology, completely get, nothing else. But let's be honest, lots of managers, anytime decisions went against them, it was always, well, let's get technology in. You've got to get technology in. If the decision went against them, they always would give an interview and say, we want it in. And it's going to be extended now. It will get towards fouls in the middle of the park, and should so-and-so have had a first yellow because he's got a second yellow, so shall we go back and decide whether he should have had the first one? It's going to extend. It's going to be harder and harder and harder to get a flowing game. I don't see where you do. I know it's an old chestnut as well about goal celebrations. And some people say, well, yeah, I can understand why that one was being examined, but that was a clear goal. But any goal now, you don't know if you can celebrate. No matter where it's from, no matter whether it looks obvious, it's scored from 30 yards, there's not another player.
That's the biggest problem.
Any goal, you think, can I celebrate? I just can't.
Horses bolted, don't it? I mean, we're talking.
Well, it has, but can you? Is there anything you can do?
I don't think you can get rid. No, that's not going to happen. I agree with you both. I'd get rid of it tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I've tried to embrace it more. I think one of the best things with VAR is that you can stop the cheating and the diving and the.
But they don't use it for that.
Well, they do.
Well, David Raya, a complete dive at the weekend. He launched himself.
What I'm saying is, when someone tries to get a penalty and dives, they're not.
I think that's
a good thing.
I'd like to see.
And there are some big, obvious mistakes that get missed that VAR gets. So great, no problem. The problem is always how it's utilised in terms of this high bar re-reffing. Now, that's the key to it. And I actually think for a while they did it quite well. There was a spell. I can't remember exactly what month to month, but there was a good spell where it felt like they were letting things, even if you thought, oh, God, I think they should bring that one back. It's like, okay, if we want this high bar, there's going to be a few where you go, that was probably a pen, but they've let it go. I'd rather that, and I think they've got to get back to that again and really, really work hard, especially by the start of next season, to go, do you know what? The on-field decision, unless this is seriously wrong, we're sticking with it.
Yeah,
and encourage the refs to make more decisions, because if you do stick with them more often, they will start. Human instinct, the confidence grows.
Get more confident.
I don't want to turn this into a Newcastle fest, but the Newcastle Aston Villa Cup game where Chris Kavanagh made so many mistakes, it was unbelievable because he's got so used to relying on VAR, with terribly exposed refs to the fact they've forgotten how to ref.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Completely.
Oh, if they hadn't won that game, that would have been
massive.
I mean, the free kick. When he's 4 yards inside the box.
You can't blame a lack of VAR for that, because a ref should see it. Or Lino should see it. So it's...
linesman as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, your Sunday morning show, Sunday edition, 9 a.m. Sunday morning, great show.
Thank you.
But whenever your fella, Winter, says VAR's here to stay, I have to smash my radio up.
I know.
He absolutely does my nut.
No, but he's right.
No, but he isn't, because technically, he might be right in terms of it ain't going to go. I don't think it is going to go. The sensible decision, as we've all agreed, is you get rid of it and you go back to real football. The fans are never consulted on this.
No.
Never consulted. I know that they did a survey of fans, and when I dug deep on it, it was between 300 and 400 match-going fans that were consulted. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
Utterly pathetic. So fans, and somebody said to me, well, fans will vote with their feet. No, you don't stop supporting your club just because of VAR.
don't.
So the fans are not consulted. I'm surprised at Henry because he is one that likes to be on side with the fans and he connects with fans and fans like
he might
him.
be saying it. I haven't heard him say this, but
This is mantra, yeah.
It was totally VAR from the start.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so he's not saying it's here.
Nothing that happens will dissuade him.
His mantra is it's here to stay. And I do get why he's saying that, but I don't think he should be saying that in his position. His position is to scrutinise things, not just to just blithely say it's here to stay, so let's crack on with it. No, let's actually scrutinise. Do fans want it? Is it a good experience for the match-going fans? Let's actually analyse that side of it before you lazily say, sorry but to call him lazy. I don't think he is lazy, but in this he's lazy.
You say what you
It's
like
here
about
to
him.
stay. He does my head in, honestly. Absolutely.
No, but-
by the way, I think Matt Targett scored again.
Yes.
It's 2-0 to
Really?
Borough.
Prolific.
Yeah. You
Get him back.
Should have called him back when you had no left backs. Let's go through a few individual VAR shockers from the weekend. I want your quick view on them all. Ashley Barnes, handball to deny Burnley the 4-4 draw at the weekend that took 4 minutes 38 seconds.
Absolutely disgraceful because you couldn't tell it was a handball, even though Danny Murphy has said off air that it was a handball,
Well,
and I don't know how he knows that. It was not clear and obvious. It was.
So I won't argue with you because you'll have seen it more times than me.
Right,
I saw that once this morning, and it looked like a handball. But if you're saying the different angles, I haven't seen all the angles.
Really difficult to
You
tell.
can't categorically say.
No.
Okay, so the bigger problem with that one, anyway, because let's say it was handball, it still shouldn't have been disallowed.
No, because it's an accidental handball.
It's an accidental handball. The bigger the problem is the rule. We wouldn't even have to be forensically looking at that nonsense if that rule didn't exist. Because how can it be for a forward that you get the goal taken away, but the other way is not a pen? It's the most ludicrous one in the game,
That's
that one.
so correct. And what has really annoyed me about, I'd say journalists and broadcasters, since VAR came in, I think they've all been too onside with PGMO, formerly PGMOL. And they've been saying, well, the law says this, the law says this. Let's just stop that for a second. And yeah, we all know that there's laws there and we can all read the law book. What's for the good of the game? What's in the spirit of the game? You're right. It should never be given as a handball.
Well, it's like the McAllister one at Forest.
Do you think then the deliberate handball is the way to go?
1,000,000%.
Okay. Well,
a million
for everything.
It's so logical.
Now there is one caveat to that, but it's still. I mean, it still shouldn't stop it happening. The caveat to that is that when players know that you're only going to get done for deliberate handball, you can accidentally handball it, can't you? Cleverly. You with me? No, I mean your body position.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you can accidentally, occasionally, but they're going to be rare.
Also, if a ball comes across, takes a couple of ricochets, and goes in off an attacker's hand,
yeah, if it's an accident, so what?
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Lacroix's red card. So this was on Cunha, where he's fouling him up until the box, and then Cunha flies through the air and falls to the ground, and a penalty is given, which to me felt a little bit harsh.
The pen.
Pen? You having a pen?
No, you saying the pen?
The pen, yeah.
I agree.
Right, okay. And he got a red card for it. as well.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was a foul.
Wasn't it outside the box? Did he carry on inside the box, or did he just dive inside the box?
Line. It was on the line.
Was it
which
enough?
Is
Was it
penalty.
enough?
It seems harsh to send him off.
It does, but once you've decided it's a foul,
you've got to send him off.
then you probably do have to send him off. Or are you saying that there was because there was a defender over the other side of the box, wasn't it? Who was coming across?
Well, it's to do with
It's
the
a
fact
long
he's
way to
not
come,
making
wasn't
an
it?
attempt for the ball.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly it. Yeah.
I think.
Do you think it was an accidental foul, by the way?
I don't really.
It's a good question.
I'd actually say with that one that I could go either way on it.
Okay.
I don't think it's that bad a decision that I'd be strong enough to go. It's some refs wouldn't give that because they'd see how how extravagant the dive was, and some refs would. You're right. Once you'd give it,
no penalty for Enzo Lefebvre at Bournemouth. The barge in the back.
I mean, they'll apologise for that one.
That's a definite pen for you.
It can't not be.
Shouldn't they apologise by now? Wouldn't it have been?
Jared Gillett is right there, isn't he? He's right on top of it. He's looking straight at it. It's a few yards in front of him. How can he not see that? Or is he another one that's thinking, well, I'm not going to give that, VAR will give it...
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he thought they were shoulder to shoulder, maybe his angle. And what happened is then the VAR says to him, no, you've made a howler.
Yeah.
It's a pen. You don't need to come and look at it. It's a pen.
It's a mistake. I can't
that is as obvious a mistake you're ever going to see.
And the game you were at, Harry Wilson's goal, there's a push on Dragusin, the Spurs defender, that's not given. And if you think back to the alleged push on Gabriel in the North London derby last week, incredibly similar incidents. So that's about a lack of consistency.
Yeah, and that's...
Should it be given as a foul, though?
Wasn't much of a push, was it?
No.
Was it? If you're just about to launch, or if you're in the air and you receive that,
even if you just
push,
get a little tap.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You played. What do you think?
I don't think it's a foul.
Okay, fair enough.
Either of them.
Yeah. So if I could just say this, it's not going to go. Please get rid of VAR. It's what real football fans, match-going fans, I genuinely believe. I hear loud.
Oh, fans would definitely get rid of. I think the bigger question is, I actually think if you ask the majority of players, they'd get rid. I think the majority of managers wouldn't, because they wouldn't want to be the victim of.
And clubs, boardrooms wouldn't either.
The boardrooms of the bigger clubs definitely wouldn't, because they're going to get more benefit.
I've actually thought the reason why Henry says VAR's here to stay, and you've got to accept it, he doesn't support a team. Therefore, he's never been in a situation where he's been robbed of a goal because he hasn't got a club. No.
Shuts up.
I think that's the reason he doesn't see it.
He must support a team, and it's secret.
Possibly so, but his only team he supports, he says, is England. So there.
Wow.
That's
Dean
probably
Ashton,
the
Ashton doesn't support a team. He didn't support a team as a kid.
But then, if you don't support a team generally, not just Dean or Henry, do you have the capability of understanding the passion around the supporters and what?
He supports England, he says, so he's got the understanding of it around England. But as a club, he doesn't go through the mincer every week about what has or happened to your club.
Then he's only ever experienced failure. So he doesn't understand the joy.
Was he born in 66? Anyway, get rid of VAR. That's what I'd say. And get rid of Henry Winner. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. Middlesbrough 2 up at Birmingham. That's live on talkSPORT 2 right now.
Jim, what do you make of all the red cards? How do you stop the red cards? Do you have a little meeting? What would we do if we was all getting sent off every week?
I think it is naivety. I think it's being young. I think also I think there have to be a little bit more structure. I think. I think a little bit more pressure as well on the players. You have got a responsibility.
Of course you have, yeah.
To stay on the pitch, 11.
I don't think there's no excuse for dissent and things like that, is there?
No, but
I know it's a passionate game, and you want to see be passionate.
Yeah, you want to, and you want to have that. You want to keep that. And football is about that, really. It's about emotions.
Were you a little bit surprised, Jim? I was just going to say, Jimmy, were you a little bit surprised at the appointment of Liam Senior? A lot of people, myself, a little bit surprised. I can't lie to you, but I think he's come in and he's if he's not hit the ground running, he's certainly looked as though he can handle the situation.
Yeah, it looks like that from outside. He's done exceptionally well at Strasbourg. They obviously know him. They have looked at him from really close by. He's brought Strasbourg in in Europe, what hasn't happened for a long time.
Still 2-0 to Middlesbrough at Birmingham. They're in the first half. That's live on talkSPORT 2 right now. If you did go to, I don't know which posh school he went to, Eton, Harrow, with Henry Winter, and he did turn up in a football club scarf, do let us know so we can find out the truth. I can't believe Henry Winter became a football writer having not supported a team as a boy. Come on. I'm not having that at all. Not having that. With Dean Ashley, didn't support a team. He got into football through Italian 90. He loved Italian 90 so much, started playing, realised he was good, and on he went and had a terrific career before injury. He went to Westminster School. I was joking.
He did. No, is he just? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Henry Winter went to Westminster School.
Well, what did you expect?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I thought it was a man of the people. So Westminster School with the boy Winter. Did he turn up in a? Where's he from anyway?
Was he a rugby guy then? More of a rugby guy.
No, he thought it was a football.
Where was he from? Where did he grow up?
London. His dad was the chief architect of London or something. Designed some various fancy buildings in London. Yeah,
Is that right?
Top
amazing.
Top architect.
Where did it all go wrong for Henry? If he turned up
the family probably thought that as well.
Yeah, at Westminster School with a Brentford scarf or a Barnet scarf or whatever it might have been, then do let us know. If you've got inside information, photos would be great.
He's not here to defend himself, the poor bloke.
I
can ask him on Sunday if you like, but he probably won't say.
He's just happy we're talking about him. Let's talk about Spurs, because Danny Murphy watched his old club lose at his old club Fulham yesterday. There was some criticism from Igor Tudor towards his own players. He's just got in there and he kind of tells it like it is. He talked about the referee in a very open manner, but he also talked about his players, saying physically we're not in an amazing situation. They played lots of games in the last period without lots of players available. It made the physical condition of the team drop down, so we need to use this period where we don't play the games to put some petrol in the engine so the engine starts to work better. They're fatigued. To do the pressing high, you need to be fit. So he's basically saying they're not fit because they've been worked very hard. Let's White and Jordan earlier was a great listen. Emmanuel Petit was in the studio with White and Jordan earlier. He questioned Igor Tudor for openly criticising his players.
This explaining exactly what we're seeing for months now with Spurs. It was kind of the same things, what that was happening at Spurs last season. So Postecoglou was facing the same troubles. The last manager as well was facing the same problem too. So it's not a surprise. But to be honest with you, is it exactly what Spurs players are expecting from their new manager? Pointing the finger at them, on the press conference, because they know they are weak. They know they don't do what the fans are expecting. They know exactly that they have so many troubles, on the pitch. Having a new manager pointing the finger at them like this on the press conference, and it's funny because afterwards he said, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I think because this is private, and I'm going to have to say that in the dressing room. But you did it.
He did absolutely do it. Manuel Petit was on White and Jordan earlier today. And let me add a little bit more from Igor Tudor before we hear from Shaun and Danny. Tudor was asked about what they called a full throttle approach in his first training session with the Spurs players. He says that's the only way running. The pitch is 100 yards, it's long, so you need to run. Danny Murphy, has he got this all wrong, the new interim head coach?
I've watched their last two games. The first game against Arsenal, he played three at the back. Mixture of pressing and some dropping off, forced into being defensive, but no clear plan on who was picking who up. You know, Arsenal down the right, for example, Saka and Timber destroyed them, and they had a mix of Simons coming back from a 10 to be a left back. Spence was running ahead of Sarr, and Sarr was ending up at left back. It was all over the place.
Is that down to players?
No,
is it forgivable because he's only just got there?
No.
Or no?
Not that. Some of the stuff I was watching, you can get beaten by a better team and just lack of quality, but no, not positional disorganisation. Because if you're going to play a five. Don't have them running all. You know, they were pressing 1 minute, dropping off the next, swapping position. It's like benefit of the doubt, maybe a few days. I don't know how long he had. Then he goes to a 4-4-2 at Fulham with two lumps up top who are both good players, and hardly got them the ball.
Remind us who was up top.
Solanke and Muani.
Right.
So Fulham like to play good football. So if you go two up top without the ball, you can press their two centre halves and you can have a good go and press them. They didn't. Fulham played around them like they were static. There was no energy about Spurs. If you've got the ball and you've got two lumps up top who are both, you know, physically good and capable, get the ball to them. And when you play Gallagher, Paulinho, Basuma, the only creative one out of four was Simons, who stuck him on the left. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to drift in as a 10. The other three are all more rugged. They're not great creators, none of them. So get the ball up to those two and play off them. Like, have a plan.
Go long.
Well, not good long passes, yeah. You know, play some percentages. Stay in the game early. Don't let Fulham get the rhythm. Because they're at home, Fulham are confident, they're popping it, they've got lots of technically good players. Have a plan. Or, if you're going to want to get balls in the box to two big centre forwards, you need crosses. Well, Simons is a right footer playing on the left who wants to go in as a 10. And Gallagher's a centre midfielder who doesn't want to be on the right, doesn't really cross it. So the only way you're going to cross it is with Gray at left back, who he's not really a full back, not a bombing on one who's going to whip crosses in. Porro is your only outlet of getting crosses in, and he was too busy rolling around, diving and crying like a baby. So where was the plan? What was the plan? Couldn't see it again. So he wants to blame the ref and talk about his players being tired. Well, you need to give them a plan to see if they can run about first. You know, what was it? Because I don't know what it was when they set up again.
He gave them a bit of a savaging against Arsenal as well. So the 2 games running, he savaged the players. And I'm pretty sure it was Darren Bent who was talking with Andy Goldstein the day he was appointed. I think it was Darren who said, and said something like, how long do you give a manager when he comes in, a new manager? Darren said, a week. I think he was talking about
yes,
the Wandy Ramos.
I remember that, yeah. I was listening to that.
Says, I give him a week.
Yeah.
And then we decide whether we're having him or not. And we weren't having him.
That's players in the dressing room.
Players in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Now, Wandy Ramos has slagged them off twice, and he's had a week and a half. I think they've already decided they're not having.
You're going back in time. Wandy Ramos. It was Igor Tudor. You said Wandy Ramos.
No, I think Darren Bent was talking.
Oh, I see, right.
I think he was talking about, I think.
He was talking about Felix Magath at Fulham.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Oh, maybe he was.
Yeah, but he was giving people blocks of cheese to take home and put on the knee.
So maybe he got what he deserved.
It might have been Felix Magath. I spoke to Breda Hangeland about it.
And it happened to him,
and I called him. I went, have you got cheese at home? Put it on the knee. He went, I've got the cheese.
But he didn't put it on his knee. How did he know if it worked then?
Some managers are so far out there, you lose them quick.
Right.
But I dare say, well, this is a good point, isn't it? You can remember when new managers come in. Would you agree that you give them a week?
Maybe a bit more. So the biggest test for a manager initially is the first meeting. When you walk in a room of 25, 30 players of mixed egos. Some not so bothered about what he says, some waiting on every word to see a weakness or see a strength. I remember when Roy came to Fulham. Houllier was brilliant at it as well, his first meeting. But Roy came in. A lot of the boys didn't really know him. So I knew a bit about him. I'd done my research. I know what he'd done. By the time he'd finished the meeting, the lads were like, whoa, that's impressive. He knows what he wants. He's been around the block. Like, yeah, lads walk out, think, Now, we didn't win for 8 games, I don't think. But we felt like we were improving, and the way he spoke to us and the way sessions put on, it was like, there was a feel, you could sense the lads were on board.
Yeah.
Now, you couldn't have gone on much longer without winning before they'd have gone. So that was a bit longer, whereas Mark Hughes came in, and Mark was quite quiet. He wasn't a brilliant talker in front of a group, but because he was Mark Hughes and the only player Fergie signed twice, and he played for Barca and Bayern, the lads were like already respectful and give him a bit longer. And he had a great coaching team as well, and the training was good, and everyone was. And Sparky had that thing where he'd interject now and again and give you a rocket, and so. But that was probably a month, 3 or 4 weeks before the lads were like, this is so maybe a bit longer than a week. But a Magat type character, I think if that's what Benny was talking about.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
When you come in and you're so out there with your views and ideas, and you start doing mad things like take that home, that'll sort the knee out, block of cheese, you're done. I heard a great story. I don't know if it's true. So, I think it's true. And it's something like when I left Charlton, obviously Curbs had gone as well, which was start of the demise really when Curbs left. No, it was because Curbs fans. I said it. They made it sound that way. Well, it's partly true, but Ian Dowie came in, and I had a few mates there still. And one of the first days, he'd sent a message, or second day, or whatever. They had to get in for like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, something stupid, and you were already on the back foot. Then they go swimming. But Dowie gets his kit off first. He's in. Right, we're swimming half an hour, whatever it was. And a few of the boys said to me, done, day one.
Wow.
Done. We're 6 o'clock swimming, and he thinks this is going to help us. Because there were some senior boys there as well. And they're just like, come on. It's different if you're young lads or you're more impressionable. But your manager's saying, come on, we're swimming, this will help, this will sort us out. It's like, do me a favour.
Nah. There's a great Magat story that Darren Bent told me once, and that was that they'd been away midweek and they'd lost, and it was on a bus. I don't know where it was, can't have been that far, but they were on a bus, got back to Craven Cottage, and or the training ground,
the training ground, Motsby, yeah.
And he got them all out, and this is like 2-3 a.m. Got them out onto the training pitch and stood them in the positions where they were meant to be in the early hours of the morning. And if he hadn't lost them by then, he absolutely lost them at that point. You've got some senior players there who've had good careers. They've played international football, and he's done that with them. And yeah, they might have had a bad game. They might have been shocking. They might have lost 5-0. But there's a way of doing it, and that doesn't feel like the right way. So he was trying to do something that he just couldn't.
No, I think he was out there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it must have been Felix Magath who was talking about both sides of it.
As I recall, I listened that day.
And I think Igor Tudor maybe doesn't sound as bad as that, but Danny's decided, as I said, he doesn't have a plan, and he slagged the players off 2 weeks running.
Don't mind him having a pop with the players
publicly,
as long as he said it to them first.
Well, listen, we'll talk more about the Spurs in just a second, because we're talking about some of the other relegation contenders as well. They lost 4 in a row, Spurs, so a big question is, are they going to go down? We'll answer that next. It's Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaway.org.
Terrible result for you, really, and Anthony Gordon got booed. Yeah, well, if you remember, I spoke to you last week on the way home from the game, and you told me that Anthony Gordon would get into any team in the Premier League. Yeah. And I disagreed with you, and I told you he's not as good as you all think he is. And he was terrible again today.
He's not the only one, though. Why all of a sudden is he being targeted?
Because of his lack of effort.
I don't see that side of his game. I mean, I watched the game today. You can't say he didn't try.
Did you see when the ball came at the box and he could have headed it in, but he'll not put himself in any position where he's going to get hurt. He doesn't put his body on the line when you're fighting for points and you're fighting for positions. The kid just hasn't got it.
Did you boo him?
No, I didn't boo him.
Okay. Did people around you boo him? Did anyone around you boo him?
Yeah.
They were?
Yeah, there was loud boos all the way around us. But I tell you what it is, at full-time whistle, there was a lot of boos, and it's been a long time since there's been a lot of boos at full-time. But what do you think about him playing Joe Linton on the wing?
Yeah, that was poor, starting on the left.
Voldemort in centre midfield and Anthony Gordon up front.
No, well, then look, you're booing Anthony Gordon, and maybe you should be booing Eddie Howe.
Well, I'm an Eddie Howe guy anyway, so...
Yeah, well, that's the problem. You're all like Eddie Howe lovers, and I get it, because he's done a good job there, but come on, the way he's setting your team up, you're a shambles.
We're a joke at the minute. We're boring, and we're not fun to watch. We're a mid-table team at the minute, and it's not exciting. There's no flair there. Something's not right.
Right, how does a VIP private suite for you and 11 mates for a day at the cricket sound this summer? Thanks to Pitch Experiences, we're sending you to their super box at the Oval. For the England, Sri Lanka, ODI and total luxury, we're talking fine dining, your own personal mixologist.
Yep.
Private balcony, Q&A with cricket legends while you watch the action, ultimate summer day out. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close this Friday at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. This is a TalkSport promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now.
We had to debate. I had to read this out yesterday.
Oh, did you?
On the show yesterday, we were debating what a mixologist was as well. Do you know what a mixologist is? I presume it's somebody who makes cocktails.
Yeah, that's
Is it?
Well.
Fancy bartender, somebody tells me, but I'd never heard it before.
Are you not?
Mixologist, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Sorry,
you
Danny, he's from Newcastle. Sorry.
You mix in higher circles, didn't you?
So Forest lost 2-1 at Brighton. West Ham, I was at Anfield. They were a little bit unlucky, actually. They defended badly. They were competitive in the game, West Ham. 5-2 was a
You concede 5, you're not unlucky.
Defensively, no, but they were competitive, is the point. And then at 4-2, Somerville weaves his way through, fires over. If he scores that, and he probably should score it, suddenly Anfield, which was a bit quiet, I've got to say, gets a bit nervous, and we'll see. I don't think Liverpool were as good as 5-2 suggests.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So let's have a look at the relegation picture, bearing those two in mind. West Ham are third bottom on 25. If we're assuming Burnley have gone, they might probably think they haven't, but Burnley on 19, Wolves on 13, we're thinking they're gone. West Ham on 25 in the bottom three. 2 points behind Forest. Tottenham are on 29 and on a losing run. They're in the worst form of all three of those. Then you've got Leeds on 31, and I think we're okay after that. So, of those, who's going to take that third relegation spot?
Well, it's a strange thing with Tottenham, isn't it? Because nobody really, really believes they're going to go down, do they? Not really. No. You're not. You're looking.
It's a great story if they do.
It is, but you don't.
on that form.
I don't think we're even in as bad as when West Ham were too good to go down in 2003, was it, when they had Carrick, Cole, and all those. I don't think you believe it about Spurs as much as when it was West Ham back then, who everybody said couldn't go down. I think it's even less likely for Spurs. I just think everybody believes they'll find a way to get whatever you need, 8 more points.
Well, they've got Forest on the 22nd of March, just before the international break. I think if they lose that, psychologically, there's a huge problem.
I think this midweek's massive. Palace at home.
Palace at home.
Because after that, they've got the 2 Atletico games and
Liverpool away.
If they were to lose at home to Palace and then probably lose the next 3, twice against Atletico and Liverpool, confidence drains, doesn't it? The one thing I would say for them, and I don't actually know the answers to this bit, but they are really depleted. If they can get 3 or 4 back, like senior players.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, can you imagine Tottenham playing at home to Palace or Forest, and you add Romero back in, Maddison back in, Kulusevski back in? I don't know how far away they are, if they're going to be fit at all, maybe not. Or even some of the lads who are missing. I thought Odegaard was doing all right when he got injured. He'd started looking.
Kudus as well.
Kudus is great. Yeah, Kudus is a big miss. So if he could get 3 back, 3 or 4, it wouldn't half give him a boost.
So who do we think is going down then? Give us a name. Because I think Spurs are going down.
Do you?
I think this manager has come in with this sledgehammer, slashing away at everything, and I think he's being more destructive than.
I'd say West Ham, not because they're not playing well, just because they've got to make up points, and I don't think Forest and Tottenham are going to lose every game.
Okay. They've been in fairly decent form though, West Ham, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously lost.
Played well at Chelsea, lost.
3 without a win before.
Played well at Liverpool.
3 without defeat before the weekend. So, I don't know. I mean, it's only 2 points between them and Forest.
I think Forest will be all right.
I mean, they played very well in Europe, didn't they? And
played well against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Spurs played well in Europe.
Forest actually played well against Liverpool. Didn't deserve to lose.
But then defensively at Brighton, they were a shambles.
Were they? I haven't seen it.
Absolutely, yeah. They. I mean, wow, what, 4 or 5 errors for the Welbeck goal? Yeah, the winning goal. I mean, just truly shocking. But that's not typical. You're right. Against Liverpool, they were.
I think it could go. I think it could go really close right to the end.
Have you seen that thing? Is it the Nuno Index? All his teams are in the bottom 4. It is, isn't it?
Nuno Index.
Forest, West Ham, Wolves, and Spurs.
He's the next manager.
Not Burnley. 4 out of 5.
He'll be the next manager of Burnley.
He'll be the next manager of Burnley. 4 out of 5. Yeah.
That's sensational. So have you given us an answer yet, Shaun?
No, I think it will be Forest actually.
Forest. You say West Ham. I'm going to go Spurs. So we'll see.
One of us will be right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, actually,
I presume so.
Yeah.
Leeds are playing well, aren't they?
Yeah, Leeds are.
Their home form is going to see them
through.
See them through, I think. Next up, you might want to disappear. It's Newcastle. We'll talk about them next on talkSPORT. Simon, it'd be remiss of us not to mention this before we go today. Michael Carrick has earned 23 points in 9 Premier League games as Manchester United manager. Quite incredible. He's won 7 of them, drawn 2. It's the joint best start after 9 games by any manager in the competition's history, alongside Ange Postecoglou. Manchester United move up to 3rd in the process in the Premier League table for the first time since May 2023. It's one thing looking at that and thinking, yeah, brilliant.
Is it too far to go to say Michael Carrick's now got to really be in the running for the permanent manager's job?
Well, yeah, I think he can be in the conversation. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. He should be in the conversation. He should be. They selected him to manage a team for 5 or 6 months. Then they can open their minds to whether he can manage a team in the bigger picture, because it may well be that they've been a beneficiary of some serious luck, that they might have found a manager that can take them forward. There's a big difference between managing them in the interim, picking up someone else's slop, and then being able to be responsible for it in the longer term and build out a bigger future. Now, if you look at the results he's got, and there's some great results in there, certainly the Manchester United win over Man City and Arsenal are very commendable results. You look at the other results and you say to yourself, well, you kind of expect a Man United side to be in these games, winning these games. I would expect Man United to beat Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. I would expect Manchester United to potentially take some points off Everton, who can't score goals in their own stadium. I would expect them to have done better slightly against West Ham, but West Ham were slightly resurgent. I'd expect them to beat Tottenham, who are tepid at this moment in time. So in all of that, you have to get some context, but there are great results in there. If you beat Arsenal and you beat Man City, my thought process was, yeah, United go and get turned over at Fulham, but they didn't.
Dear Kitmen, we see you, we appreciate your work. While some fans reckon it's just hanging up shirts in dressing rooms, we know it's so much more. A football team's kit is its identity, its uniform, what sets it out from the rest. But it doesn't clean itself. That's not just the shirts, it's the shorts, the socks, the training gear, the boots, the other bits we sort out behind closed doors. Who's the one digging around in that smelly, stinky laundry basket at full time? Yeah, it's the kitman. They have a lot to work on in a week, from laundry, fixing damaged kit, repairing holes, cleaning boots. Then they pack the van and take everything they need off to the stadium, ready for game day. They don't get a lot of help when they get in the ground too. Kitmen are the ones unloading a full squad's worth of boots, kit, medical bags, and all the bits the players and coaches will need between the start of the day and switching off the floodlights at the end of the day. First thing they do is organise each player's kit. Make it easily accessible in order to avoid any dramas on match day. Once everything's in the right place, it's into the dressing room, lay everything out, put players' nameplates on the right locker, all the things you don't even think about on a match day. Once the players arrive, if anything needs doing, they call the kitman. In the meantime, it's on the kitman to help set up for the warm-up. The coaches don't always have time to lay out all the cones and put the balls in those weird triangle piles you see. As the warm-up is underway, the kitman then becomes a glorified ball boy, chasing stray shots and passes, making sure they aren't lost in the crowds. They eventually do the tidying up too, getting everything off the pitch before kick-off and assist the ground staff with any last-minute things they may need. After that, it's last call for the players. Then, at kick-off, they can breathe a sigh of relief for a few minutes, sit back and watch the game, enjoy the fruits of their labour. At half-time, check everyone's okay and everything's as it should be, and then wait for full time. Once the final whistle's gone, it's time to pack everything down, get the stuff that needs to be washed in the laundry, pack up the van, back to the training ground, and ready to do it again next week. Of course, each club differs, and different staff members will have different responsibilities, but we pay tribute to all of those who do it, whether it's the glitz and glamour of the Premier League or a cold Tuesday night in Stoke.
It's kick-off on talkSPORT. Me with Danny Murphy, former England midfielder and director of Sunsport, Shaun Custis. We're talking in this hour about the forthcoming midweek Premier League games. We'll be talking about Aston Villa's slide down the table, Carrick's magic at Man United, and we've got to talk about Eddie Howe at Newcastle United, which I know Shaun is really looking forward to. Let's get stuck into that straight away. They've lost their last 3 Premier League home games. Why have they done that? What has happened? What's gone wrong for Eddie Howe? Can he really moan about financial restrictions when he spent £65 million on Voldemort, £55 million on Anthony Elanga? Can he really do that? Is it about injuries? What's going on? Let's have a look at how they started at the weekend. Okay, so they lost to Everton 3-2. And he started with Joe Linton on the left. Started with Voldemort at 10, Gordon at 9. After half an hour, changed it around so that Gordon was out wide, Joe Linton in midfield, and Voldemort was at 9. When they're 2-1 down with less than an hour gone, Voldemort gets taken off. So they need a goal and they take their talismanic, expensive striker off. When Visser comes on, no impact at all. And I haven't even mentioned how much he cost. So I'm wondering, that system to start with, Shaun Custis, has to be questioned. The changes have to be questioned as well. They've lost at home to Everton.
Yeah, maybe you do want to question changes, but the thing is, what we used to criticise Eddie for when things started to go a bit wonky was not adapting, not changing, and being too predictable. And that was that he used to wait till 60, 65 minutes, make the same substitutions, and pretty much did that every game. Then he started mixing it up a bit, and it's only recently. And a lot of fans were calling for him to mix it up a bit, to try some different things, because Wissa was injured, Voldemort had lost a bit of confidence, so he moves Voldemort back in midfield. Now, if you remember when Joe Linton couldn't hit a barn door and scored about 2 in 80 when he was signed as a striker, Eddie's masterstroke when he came in was to convert Joe Linton into a midfield player. He did that. And suddenly we went, Eddie's a genius. He's just turned Joe Linton into one of the top players in the Premier League. So I think he might have been trying to recapture some of that. I genuinely do, thinking I could try this and we'll see if that works. And I'll try Anthony Gordon up front. I was never a fan of Anthony Gordon playing through the middle. And I said that...
He in Europe playing up front, didn't he?
Yes. And but then I said it just before. I said there's a getting on the radio just before we played Carabag, and he scored 4 and could have had 8.
Carabag.
Yes, I know. I know it was, but he could have had a lot. And suddenly you think, wow, maybe Anthony Gordon is an answer up front. But it seemed a strange thing to do when you'd spent 100 million plus on strikers, that you're actually going to play Anthony Gordon and not trust the other two. But I don't blame him for trying to do things, to try and mix it up a bit, to see if he could find the magic ingredient. Well, nobody can doubt he spends ages in training and at home thinking about different things or trying different things. But for a long time, he hadn't. And he's trying something different. It hasn't come off yet. Who knows? He might hit on the right formula soon.
Well, let's hear from the man himself on those formation changes, start of the game, the way they shaped up, and during the game as well. Here's Eddie Howe.
We were slow starters today. We weren't happy with what we delivered in that opening 20-25 minutes, so we made some tweaks to personnel and to systems around the game, as you say, to try and find a better outcome. I thought we were better for probably 20 minutes of that second half. The early stages of the second half, I thought suddenly that we had a better look about us. We missed JJ, I thought, when he went off. Jacob Ramsey, I thought he had a really positive 45 minutes. Unfortunately, he had a sickness, illness bug that he couldn't shake off. So we're not having it easy at the moment. We're always faced with different challenges, but we know the end of the game wasn't good enough too.
Eddie Howe, by the way, Birmingham have pulled one back. They trailed 2-1. That's at the start of the second half. Probably keeper might be able to do a bit better, but that's live on talkSPORT 2 right now. So, Danny Murphy, you know the changes that were made. You know the end outcome. You've heard Eddie Howe talking about how they shaped up and how they changed it as well. What's your take on it?
Well, it's hard to be too critical when we don't know the condition of Visser, for example, because I like him. I think he could still come good.
He's been injured for a long time, hasn't he?
But he's not. He doesn't look himself. What we saw last season, that's for sure. So maybe he hasn't really got an option to start. Maybe he is struggling physically. I don't know all the answers. But I'm of a similar opinion to Shaun in that the changing of things sometimes can really freshen it up and give you fresh impetus. And the best thing a manager can do when they sees it not working is change it, and he did. And if it wasn't for a Pope mistake, they'd have got a point, wouldn't they? Ridiculous mistake.
And a great save.
And a great save.
Well, not the best save ever, but
yeah. But you know the little things in games that don't go your way.
Margins, yeah.
Ultimately, I think he's got a better squad this season than he's had in a long time. So therefore, the expectation should be higher. And they aren't really, especially away from home. I know they've had these 3 home games. Generally at home, they've been pretty good. The away form has been poor.
We were talking about 2 up front at various teams in the past. And I have often wondered if he played Voltemade and Wissa up front with Voltemade holding it up and Wissa getting him behind, could that work? He's only really tried it for like just over half a game before. He's never really gone for it as a could it work? That might be
okay. With that,
go.
Or even I don't think I haven't seen him. Maybe you'll tell me different. I can't remember him. Maybe because he hasn't had the personnel. But if you played 5 at the back and your wing backs were Hall and Livramento, I know Livramento's injured, but those two are the best attacking fullbacks in the country. But
he's experimented.
Has he done
a
that?
little bit,
yeah.
but not for any.
So maybe that's something to look at.
But I think he really, and I think we all really rate that midfield 3 when they're all fit of Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton.
Yeah,
you could argue, you could make a case for saying that's one of the best, if not the best, midfield 3 in the Premier League. And I think Eddie Howe really likes that midfield. And
it hasn't been settled this season for injuries to Bruno.
No, that's right. But when they're fit and he tries to replicate it without those players and with Miley or whatever.
Everybody rates Miley.
Up top
everybody rates Miley very, very highly and thinks he should. And he's played well at right back and he's played well in midfield.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you losing a lot when Miley plays? A lot of people would say no. I think he's very, very good.
I think Newcastle's problem, although you're right to question, to have a chat about it, and obviously the forwards aren't doing what he expected them to do when he brought them in, but they concede a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And I don't think the centre-half's good enough.
Well, any of them.
They're all decent. He's done all right. But I don't think any of them are top draw. And at Premier League level, against the opposition you play against, you're always going to look vulnerable and to be fair, Livramento's a big miss. I think he was to it. There was a stat I did earlier in the season, and it was looking at the games when Livramento and Hall had played together.
Yeah,
and they had a really good win ratio in those two play because they're both good at both aspects of defending, and that helps the centre halves. Sometimes at Trippier, who's been a great player, he's I think the centre halves, and he does mix up that partnership a lot, the centre halves, because he's had to. I mean, but Dan Burma's injured, obviously Shaw. And I think Shaw was underrated.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Distribution, like building attacks and stuff. So he's got a few issues. I think he's done overall a brilliant job. And I really like the way he conducts himself. Of course, you can't keep losing games and not come under pressure, especially at home with those fans, because they are expectant. But I think they'll turn it round.
Okay,
you say at home with those fans and they are expectant. Expectant of what?
Winning games.
We've won the Carabao Cup. We're still on a high.
Well, it's 2 Champions League campaigns in 3 years.
So what are we expecting of? We're not expecting to win the league. So what are we expecting?
Well, you're not expecting to be bottom half of the table.
No, we're not. But we're not. If we were 8th or 7th,
you're not expecting to lose 3 home games in a row.
No. Agreed, but Danny says it like we're expecting ridiculous levels of.
I think Newcastle fans.
He said not with the way what they expect up there. Yeah, but what do we expect?
I think Newcastle fans expect you to be in the top 6.
Well, then,
because you've done it. You've done it. You've done it.
You're below
twice.
Sunderland.
Yeah, I know. We have been for a while. I do.
Do you not think because they've got into the Champions League twice?
Yeah.
By good seasons, good consistent, mainly home form. The expectation is the same, if not more, because the squad's improved. Or do you think?
But just people seem to think we expect to win the league.
Oh no!
We haven't won the league since 1927, so I don't.
No,
think
what I'd say to you is this: next season,
next year it'll be 100 years since we won the league.
There could be possibly 7 Premier League teams in the Champions League, and Newcastle, if they're going to be one of them, have got to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
So if you'd said to a Newcastle fan, start of the season, right, there's going to be 7 Premier League clubs in the Champions League the following season, they would expect to be in that number.
They would.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's too unreasonable.
Okay, that's fine, but we don't have ridiculous expectations. Is my point.
No. Very quickly on Anthony Gordon, we could talk about Baltimore, but Anthony Gordon, the sports bar on talkSPORT took calls last week from Newcastle fans who weren't having him at all.
No.
The quality isn't there, and there's a small section of fans, but it was Newcastle fans close to where we
and some Everton fans
booed him off when he was
and Everton fans.
Yeah, of course they did, but you can't hear them because they're up in the gods.
Well, they made quite a bit of noise about
the Newcastle fans near where we broadcast from were booing. It wasn't just Everton fans. So clearly there's some negativity from Newcastle fans, and it might be a minority, towards Anthony Gordon. I think the outside world is surprised by that.
Well, he doesn't. He's not a consistent player for Newcastle. He hasn't been all season. He's not. And there's a little bit of lingering from last season where there was a feeling that he might quite like to have gone to Liverpool if he could have done.
Yeah,
what do you mean, of course?
He's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
And he's a Scouser. Of course he would. I mean, I think he'd have jumped at the chance, but I that's understandable. There's some negativity around that because if that's put out there in any way, shape or form...
Well, he was linked with Arsenal in this window just gone as well, wasn't he?
He doesn't score enough goals, does he? His numbers aren't good enough.
But his creativity hadn't been very good at the start of the season. I think he had no assists in quite a long number of games anyway. And you're expecting more from a player who's got a lot of pace, who's going down the wing, who should be getting...
Well, he's actually had spells where he set the bar really high and showed his talent. You see and you think, God, he's got some talent, this lad. He can really hurt teams with his pace and his directness, and he's quite two-footed, actually. I think he's just fallen below his level. And the fans are saying, well, where are you? We need you.
And it's also that Harvey Barnes, for instance, has to adapt to Gordon. Gordon will only ever play on the left or through the middle. He won't play on the right. Whereas Barnes has to do both.
And Barnes' numbers are really good.
Barnes has been very good.
Anthony Gordon's numbers in the Premier League alone. I think the league stage of the Champions League is a bit misrepresentative. 3 goals, 2 assists. Anthony Gordon. That's in 22 appearances in the Premier League. Is he a starter for England at the World Cup?
No, I don't think so. Do you?
I think Tuchel likes him a lot. His work rate and his rapid.
Right now,
the left side's a problem for England.
It is a bit.
I mean, he loves dynamic wingers, Tuchel. I would, if I was him and Bellingham gets fit, I'd play Rodgers on the left because he plays there for Villa loads of times and he comes in. But he's not someone that will keep out wide and give the width that Tuchel likes. I mean, he's played Madueke on the left as well because of the dynamism. Rashford's got to play more, hasn't he? He likes Rashford. But I think if Rashford was fit and getting decent game time, you wouldn't play Gordon ahead of Rashford, would you?
No, I don't think so. No. By the way, Harvey Barnes, Premier League numbers, 27 appearances, a lot off the bench, 5 goals, no assists.
Yeah, but a lot off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But if you score, having come on as a sub, it counts.
I thought he had double figures this season. Or was that just
Champions League as well?
Scored in Champions League as well.
He's got 2 FA Cup, 5 Champions League. So he's 12, overall 12 and 4 in goals and assists for Harvey Barnes. But the Champions League stages, look at who Inter Milan played in the Champions League. They won the first 4 against absolute bobbing sides. And people thought, oh, they're back. And they're already out. So I'm not judging on the Champions League. Interesting with Newcastle, see how that goes.
If they got United, mate, big game that one. Well, good one to bounce back in.
That's Wednesday night. I'm there on talkSPORT. And you got Sunderland coming up in April. You looking forward to that, mate? Are we? Dear. You listen to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
your record at home is so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem you've got with Spurs is there's a real toxic feeling throughout the football club when you look at the top in terms of the ownership and the changing of some of the hierarchy there, Daniel Levy moving on. Nothing has really changed, Ray. You know, the reality is with Tottenham that they talk like they want to be a big club, but they don't act like a big club. They don't want to pay the big club wages in general. Look, they've made a bit of a shift in terms of Conor Gallagher, for example. But, you know, you look at that January transfer window, that absolutely has killed us by not improving and investing into the squad. You know, we knew going into that window we were absolutely decimated by injuries, but the board chose not to give Thomas Frank any kind of opportunity to really fight and try and see if there's a way out of his current predicament when he was struggling. And Tudor's come into a battle where, quite honestly, at the moment, I'm really, really unsure whether we've made the right decision.
Yeah.
But at the time, you know, he was a firefighter, but I think he's walked into Tottenham, and you've heard him there in the press conferences. I think he doesn't realise until he's got in there the actual mess the club are in. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if another couple of defeats, they may look to change him, because I'm worried that in his first 2 games, he's gone in on the players and absolutely buried them.
He has, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they probably deserve being buried, but how is that productive in terms of trying to get results out of this group? I don't know, when you're already decimated by injuries and you've got 12 to 13 players fit to work with.
It's a little bit harsh having a go at him straight away when he's only been in having 2 games, Ricky, but I can understand it, because for me it was a kind of strange appointment. I'm still a little bit concerned at some of the body language from the Spurs players.
We've just worked out in here. Former England midfielder Danny Murphy, the director of Sun Sports, Shaun Custis. I'm Adrian Durham. I used to work on in a nightclub in Newcastle, which had a revolving dance floor, and it was a boat moored under the Tyne Bridge on the water. Fantastic. One of the best times of my life working on that boat as a barman. And Shaun's just told me, you must have served me.
Yes, I think you must have done.
Golden times. But let me tell you, all you public who went on the boat back then missed the best time, which was New Year's Day when they closed it and the staff had free run of the place, free drink, could go where we want. And if I say we could do what we want, we had the best. Is it after 9 o'clock? Yes. We had the best time. Those New Year's days. Fantastic. Wonderful.
Can't believe they closed it. It was the place to go.
It was brilliant. You know, it was featured on Our Friends in the North. You know that?
Yeah.
Epic TV series. Sorry about this.
No, I'm intrigued.
Fantastic TV series with Daniel Craig in it. A superb show. And right at the end of the series, Tosca is on the boat. He runs the boat.
And you're serving him?
I'm probably there somewhere. But yeah, it was a golden time, Danny. You would have loved it. You talk about not living in Newcastle.
Is that where you learnt the charm?
Have I got
With
charm?
the opposite sex?
When was this?
Is that
What do
where
you want?
Is that where you practiced your lines?
Can I just say, working on the boat in Newcastle, you didn't need charm.
Did you not?
Just needed to pot a pulse. It was. I'm going to move on. Very quickly. I was at Anfield on Saturday, but before that, I was at Molineux Friday night. Wolves 2, Villa 0. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the game, and actually really enjoyed some of the Wolves' performances as well. And nearly, my magic moment was almost Joao Gomez's magic feat in the build-up and the finish to the first goal. The kid Mane can play.
Good, isn't he?
Yeah, what would you do with if you're him and you're his agent? What do you advise him? Stay in the Championship and play for a season?
No.
Move.
Yeah.
What if he's not going to play?
Well, you find an option where he probably will.
And where would he shoot, do you reckon?
Good question. I think it depends who stays out. I mean, you know, if you look at teams like you watch enough of Forest and West Ham, could you see him getting in one of those if they stay up?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what
Absolutely,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, so even if he's not guaranteed, his quality will shine through.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, you know, if one of the big boys come in for him, that's hard to turn down. But realistically, is it too early to do that.
They were talking at Molineux. They were talking about him signing for a big club and then going back for a season at Wolves.
Yeah,
possibly
that could work.
But do you? By the way, Middlesbrough 3-1 up. It's live on talkSPORT too. Do you really rate him though? Do you?
He looks really confident, really good. I think he's got that bit of strut, that bit of belief in himself that young players have when they're really good. You know,
does it help when they're under no pressure? Because you're not under any pressure at Wolves now, are you? You can only.
Well, he started games after Christmas, so they were down by then, weren't they? Really? No, you're right. You're right.
You can always impress.
I think it's fair, but if you spin it on its head, you could say that when you're in a team depleted of confidence, where a lot of the players aren't really up to the level, and you're still shining, then you're doing something right, aren't you? Because you've got to go and grab the ball. You've got to go. And I've seen him play, he goes wandering. He goes like looking and demanding. He doesn't. He looks like he's been given a position, but then he goes, you know what? I haven't got on the ball here. I'm going to go and find it and make something happen. I'd be amazed to see him there next season.
He carries himself like a senior player.
Yeah, he does.
And that's for somebody who didn't get in the starting lineup till after Christmas.
What age is he?
He's 18.
Yeah, well, that's...
Which is, I mean, whenever I watch him, I think he is absolutely the real deal. So Wolves are gone. They're showing a bit of fight. And what I like about it is they're giving the fans something to shout about, which they haven't really had. And they were shouting about it on Friday night. Aston Villa, meantime, have got a few problems. They have 1 win in 5 in the Premier League. They are sliding down the table. They are down to 4th, below Man United, and they're in danger of not finishing top 5. So they may well have to win the Europa League to get in the Champions League next season. I think what might save them is Chelsea's run of fixtures, which I think is pretty tough, especially given the way they played yesterday. I didn't think they were that great. But Aston Villa, what is going wrong there? Is this simply down to the fact that McGinn is out, Kamara's out, and more importantly, Tielemans?
Well, they're influential players, aren't
Yeah.
they? But every time when I used to ask the question about, do you think Villa are in the title race when they were second and when they were third and not far up the top, people go, nah, Villa will drop away. So nobody's surprised they've dropped away, but nobody could say why they'd drop away. But everybody expected them to, and they have. So aren't they just playing a season and finishing where you would expect Aston Villa to finish?
Yeah, kind of. I agree with that. I think Watkins' form has dropped off a bit, and that's key for them because you can't just be relying solely on Rodgers. I mean, he's been phenomenal. He really is a phenomenal talent. But they've been too relying on him.
Yeah.
The other wide boys aren't chipping in. And I actually think Tielemans, and I like Kamara as well, and McGinn, we know his leadership and his tenacity, but a lot of the good games I saw Villa have where they really looked like a good side who could beat anyone, Tielemans was so instrumental in it because he can play as sitting and he can play as a 10. He can do both roles. I think he's a massive miss for them, and he's creative.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, I suppose an obvious one is the European campaign at any level, mixing that with Premier League and cup runs with a less squad than the people he's trying to compete against, because their squad is nowhere near that of Liverpool, City, Chelsea. It's just not.
No.
But then the same goes for, you would make that argument about Spurs and Newcastle and why they've dropped off, would you? Because they're involved in Europe.
Yeah, you could. But I mean, the difference is that Villa, during a period where they weren't fatigued, or they didn't have the injuries, were better than Tottenham and Newcastle.
Yeah, Villa are 4th. Newcastle are bottom half. Tottenham are going down.
I was slightly amazed. It took me by surprise that Leon Bailey turned up playing for them.
Yeah.
I thought, I remember him. Where's he been? Apparently, I see he'd been away at Roma.
They let Marlon go, didn't they?
Quite like to see Harvey Elliott playing for him. I think that's been an absolute shambles, and I think they possibly could have done with him, to be honest.
I agree. Could have done with him.
I think it's a really strange, very strange situation.
But what can you do to get out of it now?
That's it.
There's nothing they can...
He's had a season taken off his career, and I think it's such a shame for them.
It is a shame, and the only thing you could say to him is that if you're going to miss, and it happened to me more or less, if you're going to miss a full season and not play many games, you're better missing it this way than an injury, because you
get better.
You're still
better.
You're still training. No. More from your longevity point of view, in that you're not You're not hammering your body week in, week out, and you're not having to find a way back from an injury that could be problematic moving forward. He's fit.
Yeah.
He's training, he's okay, he's just missing games. So he's not hammering his body. So the break, if you like, it's not damaging him physically.
How do you think the manager decided so quickly that he wasn't going to be part of it?
Weird, isn't it?
What happened? I mean, I didn't really see his games that he did play, so did something happen?
No, I think he decided. Well, I saw an interview he did where he decided he can only play a 10.
Hmm.
And now maybe that's just because he has an expectation of his wide players. But I find that a strange one because when I watch Villa, he mixes it up. Sometimes he'll have a winger like Sancho out there or Gessan before he went to Palace. But then sometimes he'd play McGinn off the right, tucked in. And that's perfect for Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
Because he
on the left instead of 10,
he said he's only a 10. And most of the season he's played Rodgers or Tielemans as a 10. So you could argue that's why he's not playing, because Tielemans and Rodgers are better. But he can't. He's shown for Liverpool many times he can play different roles.
And I would also say he's got Buendia as well, who plays as a 10.
Yeah, he's played him there as well, and he had a good start to the season. Buendia.
I'd argue that with Tielemans out, Rodgers on the left, and Elliott at 10 would be better for Villa. We won't know because it's not happened, but that's what I'd argue.
Well, the thing is, he's a goal threat. He makes and scores goals.
Talking of goals, 1 in 11 all comps for Ollie Watkins. Is he in danger of missing out on the World Cup, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely. I like him as well. I don't know why the drop off, because he didn't start the season particularly well, did he? Nor did Villa, to be fair.
No.
And then he had a little purple patch where he looked back at it, physically.
Well, he scored 1 goal up until December, which was
yes, yeah, and then I don't know if it's physical. I don't know.
We've got this problem with all of those backups to Harry Kane, haven't we?
Delap.
Delap, who's, having a
he's not
time
even
at
in the
Chelsea.
conversation,
Well, Solanke had a little good run.
He's not in the conversation, is he?
Yeah. Calvert-Lewin, he scored 3 in a row. Get him in the England squad. Then he's...
So who goes as the backup then? Do we not know?
Well, then, like 2 weeks ago, it was Anthony Gordon because he scored 4 against Qarabag. We can play him down the middle or on the wing, so that's perfect.
Rashford as the auxiliary?
Well, he doesn't play up front at all now.
But he can do, can't he?
Do you know what?
I remember.
I actually think if now, as it stands, especially, obviously assuming he gets fit, if Kane was to get, I'd play Bellingham centre forward.
Cool. Bold shout that, I like.
Saw him do it for Madrid a couple of times. He's a goal threat.
Yeah.
He's physical, can edit, runs about, can defend from the front. If Kane gets injured, I'd Bellingham just say false 9. Stay up there, don't defend.
False 9 or centre forward.
Well, you can't.
Real 9. Yeah.
Real 9.
You can't be a real 9 if you're not. You're a false 9. Okay. You can try and play as a real 9, but he's a false 9.
He's going to get hammered for that, Tuchel, if that doesn't work by you.
Me?
Yeah, you'll hammer him for that. If he played a false 9, not a proper striker.
There's only one man going to hammer Bellingham. It's Craig Hope.
I actually don't think many people would see it, especially if they remember watching him play in that. He had about a month where he played there for Real Madrid, not as a 10, as a.
He did get a lot of goals, didn't he?
I think with the options being so limited, it makes sense.
It's good logic, Danny Murphy. Thank you very much. You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, 18+, gambleaware.org.
time, a lot of respect for you, as much as I've got a lot of respect for Emmanuel Petit. But for you to say, it's either you've got your ears shut and your eyes shut not to know that. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of the fans have not explained it properly. Emmanuel Petit is bang on right, and so is Martin Keown. But Petit's probably not explained it right to use. But if you look at it right, even going back as far as Adrian Durham, when Arsenal, under Arsene Wenger, who was one of the greatest managers ever, who, I said this to you before, Simon, who had his arms tied behind his back at some stages, had to sell our best
Your own
players.
fans ate your manager at the end.
No. Simon, this is where you get it all wrong, mate.
Oh,
right?
oh they didn't then.
No, I'll tell you why you get it wrong. Arsenal are the biggest supported club in London, right?
Yep.
Behind Manchester United and Liverpool, they're one of the biggest supported clubs around the world. Man United and Liverpool have got the most, then it's Arsenal. It's a known fact.
Yep.
Social media and Arsenal fans on social media is what's caused all this poison. And you said it, Simon, right? You just said it earlier.
Yeah.
You said there ain't a thing against Arsenal, but the first thing you said was they think they've got to give them right, and they think this. No, Simon, we don't think we've got to give them right, because I've been going Arsenal 37 years. I've seen us win 5 league titles, right? I'm a good fan. I've been there through the thick and thin, yeah? When Arsenal was doing poor towards the end of Wenger's reign, how comes there was a daily Arsenal?
Well, it's Birmingham 1, Middlesbrough 3 live now on talkSPORT 2, well into the second half. So, tell you what, we'll eavesdrop on that commentary, shall we? Let's hear some of the game now with your commentary team, Chris Sowellamo and Jim Proudfoot.
It was Panzo, because they were putting him under real pressure.
And welcome to listeners from talkSPORT. Here is St Andrews, Middlesbrough 3-1 up with 13 minutes to go. They've been good value for it over the game as a whole. They were 2 up inside half an hour with a couple of goals from the former Aston Villa man, Matt Targett. Birmingham had started really brightly, but as soon as Middlesbrough scored the first on the counter-attack and against the run of play, Birmingham fell apart. They were better at the start of the second half and got one back through Marvin Dush, but a delicious Luke Ayling cross was headed in by David Strelec with his last touch before coming off to restore the advantage. And as things stand, Middlesbrough back within 5 points of Coventry at the top of the table. Birmingham have had the odd isolated chance since going 3-1 down to make life difficult for Middlesbrough. But Solbrin's only had a couple of saves to make all night of any consequence, and it's Middlesbrough on the front foot here with Sarmiento. He's lost out to Clara. Chris Uwellamo's watching the game with me on talkSPORT 2. As Hackney plays the ball in, should be easy for Beadle to catch it. He can. I think good value for it, Middlesbrough.
They've been excellent. You know, I think they had to weather the storm probably the first 5-10 minutes, but then get the goal against it on the play and then just took control, play with a purpose, defend. Everyone knows the responsibilities without the ball, but it's with it in that transition. Use it very well, go forward with numbers, with aggression as well, and create some real good opportunities.
Wagner sends the ball inside the Middlesbrough penalty area that is comfortably caught by Solbrin. The game continues on talkSPORT 2, the final 12 minutes. If you've got the talkSPORT app, it's really easy. Just go to the live games tab at the bottom of the homepage, and that will give you the option to listen to our talkSPORT 2 coverage. Middlesbrough going back within 5 points of Coventry at the top. If they can hang on for the final 12 minutes, they lead by 3-1.
Jim, Chris, thank you very much. We've got more live Championship commentary tomorrow night. Ipswich take on Hull City, two of the teams in the playoff places. That's on talkSPORT 2. I'll be round the grounds. We'll talk about the Premier League games this midweek. coming up. I'm round the grounds in the Premier League tomorrow. I'm going to be at, where am I tomorrow? Wolves, Liverpool. I'll get it right. Wednesday, it's Luton, Northampton, Virtue Trophy semi-final. Winner goes to Wembley. That's on talkSPORT 2, and it's round the grounds in the Premier League again. I'll be at Newcastle, Manchester United. I'm looking forward to that. I'll give Eddie your best.
You do some miles, don't you?
I absolutely love it. Love it.
Are you a car man or a train man?
Train man. Rain man. Train man. I am, yeah. Because you get so tired driving the length of the country.
Yeah,
it's a shattering thing. Man United are third in the table. They've gone above Aston Villa. Carrick is unbeaten in charge. He's got Sesko scoring goals, 6 in 7. I think he's started only 2 of those 7 games, I think I'm right in saying. And they're going well. They're going brilliantly well. And you wonder what the future will be, whether Michael will get the job full on. Are they going to stay in a Champions League position? But Shaun, it looks good for United right now. And it's quite a turnaround from where they were just a short time ago.
It's a heck of a turnaround, isn't it? And you've got somebody like Amorim who was stubborn as anything, wasn't prepared to compromise for anything, rooking with the board, rooking with his sporting director, deciding, I know best. And you might say the manager should know best, but obviously not prepared to listen to anybody. And you've got Michael Carrick come in and just say, let's have a bit of calm here. Let's just do some sensible things. A little bit reminds me of when Keegan left the England job and Ericsson came in, and he just said, let's be calm. Let's just play people in their right positions and go out there and enjoy yourself and pass it around a bit. It feels a little bit like that. But eventually he's going to lose a game, isn't he? And then we'll start asking some questions. I really don't think he's helped by the fact Roy Keane's got it in for him and Gary Neville's not convinced. You might say, well, that's got to do with it. But Keane is not letting it go. And he has a very, very powerful voice, strong voice on TV. And he will never accept Carrick in that Man United job. He's already said he could win all 19 games, I think, that he had.
I didn't see it.
And he didn't, and he shouldn't be the manager.
What's that about? Is that
It's to do with something...
Carrick's
missus responded to something Keane had said about Michael Carrick being interviewed. Michael Carrick was interviewed, I think, after a European game. Keane didn't think the interview was very inspirational, said so on, I think, maybe social media, on TV, and Mrs. Carrick gave him a bit back. And it's 12 years ago.
So it's a personal thing.
It comes across that way. I mean, it might not be. I mean, it probably is, but he might not think he is capable. I mean, I think he's done an amazing job. And you're right, the calmness, the kind of just doing simple, obvious things that everyone was saying. One of his things he's done really well is that he seems to have those who aren't necessarily starting on board as well, which is never easy. And he knows the club. He's a bright lad. He's articulate. I think he's got a chance of getting it. But I think you also have to put it in perspective. He's like, we're so new to it. He's so new to this role. And if you break the games down a little bit, West Ham wasn't great. Fulham last minute winner when Bassi made the mistake. Everything.
Everton was pretty poor, but a great goal.
Brilliant goal.
Yeah.
And any manager needs those little bits. I'm not belittling what he's done, but everything's going well. Everything's going right.
That's right.
And there'll be a spell where someone will get sent off. They'll lose a game when they didn't deserve to. They'll get a last-minute goal against them. And then all of a sudden, because you've got, unfortunately for Michael, the Solskjaer thing is always there as a
comparison. Yeah.
If they did, I don't think if the Solskjaer thing had ever happened, I think everyone would be much more on board with it. Mm-hmm. The skepticism comes from, I think, we've been here before.
Yeah.
I think he's got more about him than Solskjaer, by the way.
And those critics were quite pro-Solskjaer as well. They liked him.
They were, yeah.
And honestly, they're just not having Michael Carrick as the manager. And I feel for him slightly because I don't see how you ever get past that. Look, you must know, Danny, you're quite powerful voices, you ex-pros, when you talk about your former clubs. And people do listen to what you say, and it does make an impact. Nowadays, which didn't used to happen a lot in the past, what you say on TV or radio makes headlines in the papers, and it makes headlines online all the time.
Yep.
Day in, day out. We're looking for content all the time. And what Keane says on a Sunday about Man United goes on for 2 days. Same with Gary Neville.
Oh, they are
very powerful voices. It's difficult to shake. I'm interested in what you say about Carrick knows the club. How is that so important? If you went back to Liverpool, for instance, somebody said, Danny Murphy, you're in charge of Liverpool, get rid of this slot fella, Danny Murphy's in. What is it about the club that you know which you think you'd slot into straight away?
I think it's an understanding of what the fans expect and some of the logic around that, whether it be... So for Liverpool, Liverpool like high-press managers, high energy. They always have. And so, for example, when Roy Hodgson went in there and, being more pragmatic straight away, that's a no. And that's United. United can't be three at the back, strategic, pragmatic, playing counters. They can't. There's just, Amorim, it was getting to a point where it was so ridiculous because the results weren't happening, but also it's not the United way. I don't even know how the fans stayed with him so long. It baffled me because it was never going to work, ever. Because that's just not what United are. And they're simple things, but it's also more things as well. I think the way you conduct yourself and speak in the press about the club and, all those expectations and all the ways he deals with the media in a way that he's been at United before.
Yep.
He's not making mistakes.
When he was asked about the Jim Ratcliffe comments about immigration, I thought he handled it superbly. He didn't say, oh, it's nothing to do with me, or he's apologised, that's the end of it. He actually went into some detail. I thought it was really impressive. I've got to ask you a quick one, Danny, very quickly on Bruno Fernandes. Is he in with a shout of Player of the Season, Premier League?
He's in with a shout. I don't think he'll get it if Arsenal win the league. I think Declan probably get it, or Gabriel, someone like that. But he has been phenomenal.
Did you say Gabriel?
Well, yes, that's the talk, isn't it? Not me, I wouldn't. I would never give it a defender.
Will you not?
No.
You can't?
No, you can't. You can't give a Player of the Year to a destructive player rather than a creator.
Absolutely not, especially not.
But I think Bruno, I've criticised him in the past as a captain for the histrionics and the diving and the arm throwing and all that, but I've never criticised his bravery. And his level of performances for quite a long time now for United to be a shining light in a team that struggled like hell takes some doing. He's never jumped ship, and he could have. He's never. He has. I did say a while ago. I think Bruno Fernandes in a more successful team, a Man City, Liverpool of the last few years, whatever, you wouldn't have seen as much as that. I think the histrionics and the silliness came from frustration. And then, of course, that gets accentuated because you're the captain, and then you should be behaving. Man United captains don't behave that way. But a level of his footballing performance and his football IQ, is there a better number 10 in the world at the minute?
Great question.
I'm not sure there is.
We'll leave that hanging in the air. We'll talk about the midweek Premier League football next.
Chelsea are winless against Arsenal. In 8 league games against Arsenal, Chelsea have lost 5 and drawn 3, scoring 6, conceding 15. Arsenal also won both legs of the Carabao Cup semi-final this season between the sides. So, you have to go back a long, long way
Abramovich.
when Chelsea did anything against Arsenal. You're right, Emmanuel. And here's the thing. Chelsea's co-owner, Todd Boehly, has been speaking about this. He spoke at the iConnections conference on their arrival in English football.
Having taken over in the circumstances we did, basically the whole management team left.
Yeah.
Right? So I was stuck being interim sporting director for a summer, having no idea what made a good football player.
Yeah, right.
But knowing that, Mark Cucurella, if Man City wants him, I want him.
Yeah, right.
It was really simple that way.
That's pretty simple.
He says, Simon, the whole management team left. Well, they kind of did because he sacked them.
Well, he sacked the manager, didn't he?
Right. So out they went. I mean, does Boehly's latest story there, though, Simon, not fly in the face of your compelling and capable image that you have of these characters like Todd Boehly?
I didn't say Todd Boehly, did I?
You said Egbali.
I said it after Egbali. I met Todd Boehly in Qatar. I thought Todd was okay, commercially minded man, clearly successful. When I talked about compelling people, it was directly relational to Egbali. It had no reference to Todd Boehly in there.
Into 5 minutes added on at the end of the game at St Andrews, Birmingham 1, Middlesbrough 3. Those closing stages live on talkSPORT 2 right now. Borough about to win and go 5 points behind Coventry at the top of the table. We've got Premier League midweek. I love Premier League midweek under the lights. So tomorrow I'll be on kickoff 7 p.m. Dean Ashton, Jay Bothroyd are on the show. We've got loads of football going on. Wolves against Liverpool is the game I am at. All of a sudden, Wolves away is not an easy one, isn't it? They've got a bit about them, a little bit of quality, a little bit of fight.
They have, and you've got to be careful. It's all about mindset. It's all about professionalism. I see less of a problem for Liverpool tomorrow night than I do on Friday.
The arrogance of Liverpool.
No. I'm saying I think Friday,
right,
in the cup game.
Okay.
Because they play them twice in 3 days.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, yeah, fair enough.
I think that's more of a problematic game than the league one.
Both at Molineux. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't
because
it?
I think Liverpool are so focused now. They've won 6 and 7.
Yeah.
They're very focused on what they can't slip up. So I think he'll just go super strong as the best team he's got available. I don't think Wirtz will be back. But I think in the FA Cup, because you've got Champions League coming up, because they're so desperate to get in the top 4, I think the FA Cup he could make 5 or 6 changes.
Bournemouth, Brentford tomorrow, Everton, Burnley, Leeds, Sunderland, they're the 7:30 kickoffs. Wolves, Liverpool is the 8:15 kickoff. Wednesday's games, Villa take on Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, Fulham, West Ham, Man City at home to Forest. They're the 7:30 games. The 8:15 kickoff is Newcastle against Man United. And that's an interesting one. Brighton have won their last 2. So it's can't say it's easy for Arsenal.
They're not great, though, are they? I mean, I've seen a lot of them. They're not great. They've struggled massively recently. It's been too easy to play against. And you'd think if Arsenal are anywhere at it, they should be going. Well, they've got to start winning some away games. You can look at the opposition. They should have won at Forest. They didn't. They should have won at Wolves. Should have won at Brentford. Should have won at Sunderland. None of those games they won.
Yeah.
So away from home is a problem for them. This is a bit... I actually think, I was looking at the fixtures, when you try and do that deep dive and think, where are they going to mess up? I think if they get the win at Brighton, their fixtures then become reasonably good till City.
Yeah.
This is a big test for them, Brighton away, because they've won 2 and the confidence is up a bit. But if they get through that, I think they could get to the City game unscathed.
So City, Forest, Shaun, we'd expect City... You just have to look at the league table and you expect City to win the game.
I mean, there is a little bit of fight about Forest still. There is a bit of spirit about them. They've got a new boss. There is... You think there could be a bit of life, but City... City aren't the brilliant City, but they've got enough to beat Forest, I'm sure.
You would think so. Okay, so when you've done that deep dive, have you got Arsenal to win the league?
I've got it going down. I've looked at City's fixtures. I've got it going to the City-Arsenal game.
Right, okay, so whoever wins that.
Yeah.
What if that's a draw? Do Arsenal get the draw?
City have got to win, haven't they? Then it's in Arsenal's hands.
Yeah.
So whoever leaves that game with in their own hands.
Okay, fair enough. So Arsenal get the draw. Intriguing, very intriguing. Fulham West Ham is an interesting one. You've already spoken highly of Fulham, your old club, West Ham.
That'll be a good game, that.
Yeah, I think so, because West Ham have got some. They've got some good players.
To watch.
Yeah, probably the only one. Although, like you, I'm looking forward to Thursday because Tottenham Palace.
Tottenham Palace is.
Apparently, Palace played all right at Man U.
Yeah, they did, but and it was a harsh. As we talked about the red card. I'd love to have known what would have happened without the red card. But Man United had some quality. Spurs haven't got that quality with certain players injured. So if they lose that, as you said earlier, it's a huge one. Just back to Wednesday, Newcastle, Man United. Are you worried about that?
No, I think we'll at least get a draw. I don't expect to lose, actually.
I don't. I think that could be a turning point.
Be okay. There's a feeling we need to get it sorted out a bit in the league. I think the fans will be right up for it. We're always up for it. I mean, we're usually up for it anyway. But Man United, we do quite like that.
Where would you play Voltemade? On the bench, in goal.
I would like to try the Voltemade Vissa thing up front. I really would. He won't do it, but
No.
I'd like.
I think he'll start Vissa.
We can't stop. We can't bin him already. We can't bin Vissa.
Would you make a change with the goalie?
Actually, I thought I would have earlier in the season, but Ramsdale didn't cover himself in glory when he came in. I thought it was about the right time for him to come in when Pope was injured, but he didn't do that well. So
I think he might change keepers. It was a big mistake, wasn't it? Well, let's see what happens. The midweek football around the grounds Tuesday and Wednesday on talkSPORT. This time next week it'll be West Ham, Brentford in the FA Cup 5th round, big FA Cup weekend coming up. Danny Murphy, thank you very much.
Pleasure, thank you.
Custis,
Cheers, Adrian.
thank you very much. Say hello to Henry for me.
Oh, I will do.
He's here and he's here to stay. Sports Bar is next. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy with you on talkSPORT.
It's massively disappointing that some Leeds United fans booed when Manchester City's players broke their fast during the first half of the match at Elland Road this evening. This was compounded by the fact that an explanation was displayed on a big screen inside the stadium. Pausing the game to allow Muslim players to break their fast during Ramadan has been an agreed protocol for several years now. It has been. It's been in place for about 4 to 5 years now. Emmanuel, in your view, I don't know if this happened in French football, but how badly did some Leeds fans let themselves down?
I don't like it. In fact, I hate it.
You hate what? You hate what? The fact that they booed?
Yes, definitely. Because first of all, it's the protocol. But I think more important than that is the political environment we're living in this world, actually. And I totally agree with what Pep just said. And we need more love in this world, you know. There is war everywhere. There is racism coming from everywhere now. And I'm quite scared about what will happen in the future. And to be honest, the world we're living to our kids, you know. And this is not the kind of message, you know, that for me is very helpful for this world. And